course. Now, I just wanted to explain a little bit about what you're going to find in this course. Now, in this course, you're going to find the exact strategies we use to do 7 figures a month consistently, from finding products to testing products to scaling products and all the operations around it.
Hi there. In this video, I'll be going over everything you need to do in order to be fully set up and start selling on your Shopify store. From buying your domain to setting up your homepage, everything will be included in this video. Having a bad website will kill your chances of success. Even if you have a winning product and amazing ads, if you don't have a high converting store, it will be nearly impossible to see results and have a thriving business. Typically for a beginner, I'd recommend starting with a general store. This means you can jump on trends quickly, but also means you're not limiting yourself to a niche which you may not find profitable. Usually what we do is we give our store a branded feel. So when a customer actually goes on the store through the product page and then ends up browsing around the store, it feels trustworthy, so they're more likely to buy from you. Once you start seeing results in certain niches that you've launched, this is when I would recommend diving more into that niche once you've started seeing success. Typically for us in the past, the fashion niche has been very successful for us. So before you get going, what you'll naturally need to do is decide on a country which you're selling to. The strategy we use is that we sell to native countries within Europe. So basically what we do is we take winners that are currently a winning product in the US, and what we then do is rip them products and move them straight across into Europe, so i.e. countries like Germany, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, any of them countries, we've had massive success. So this is why we are recommending it to you. It's super easy to do. What you can do is use DeepL, which is a translating app we use, which is a lot better than Google just to get going. But I would recommend hiring a native speaker just to double check your work that it makes sense. Because sometimes with these translating apps, what tends to happen is they translate words literally and can actually end up meaning the sentence or whatever you do doesn't actually make sense. But DeepL is a great app to use if it's just an odd word, a couple of sentences, that type of stuff that needs translating. But to get you going, use that. And as soon as you start generating some revenue, that's when you can start buying or paying for a native speaker to double check your work. This means once you've decided on the country that you'd like to sell to, you can tailor everything towards that, i.e. the domain. For example, if it was Germany, by .de, Netherlands.nl, or Sweden.se. And then everything else will follow suit. One thing you will need to consider though is with these specific countries, you need specific payment processes. So i.e. if you're selling to Germany, you will need PayPal. And if you're selling to one of the Scandinavian countries like Sweden, you will need Klarna. How I typically start setting up a store is first I choose the name of the store, go on to GoDaddy, make sure it's available, then purchase it. Then I will create my customer support email through the GoDaddy account and link it to the domain. And then what I do is I create a store Gmail. This is just for the Shopify store and any apps that I create an account with. This is just so in my normal mailbox, these don't get missed. So once I've bought the domain, created the emails, this is then when I create my Shopify account. So once you've created the Shopify account, I would then go into the themes. When you're starting off, I'd typically choose a free theme just until you've got your foot in the door and you've actually started generating some revenue. Shopify provides some really good free themes, so all you would need to do is just have a browse about and see what type of feel you want for the store. I would typically use as a beginner Dawn, but I mean, it's up to you to choose what you'd like. And then afterwards, I'll show you how to go through the settings and get that all set up. So first, what I'd do is go to GoDaddy and create an account. If you've already got one, brilliant. If not, simply type GoDaddy in, go to GoDaddy, click sign in, and then create an account. Once you've created an account, you'll be able to buy a domain. So once you've created your GoDaddy account, all you then need to do is search for a new domain. Once you're happy with the name of the store or the name of the domain, all you need to do is see if it's available. If the domain is available, brilliant, you can buy it. If not, you may need to tweak it slightly. What I'd recommend is to keep it short and simple. You don't need to do anything too crazy with the domain. So anything less than 10 characters is perfect. What you usually want to do is make sure it's 1 or 2 words. Take inspiration from other brands like Fashion Nova, Nike, Adidas. At the end of the day, just keep it simple, short and sweet. If you are stuck on trying to think of a domain, you can use websites like leandomainsearch.com, where once you've got an idea of something, what you want to call it, all you need to do is just type a word into this and it'll help you think of some domains. So for example, if I was creating a flower shop, for example, I'd type in floral. And then all you'd need to do is just browse down here and try and grab some ideas from it. And then once you're happy with the name, just plug it into GoDaddy and then purchase it. So once you've checked your domain is available and you can purchase it, what I would then go and do is buy a professional email. This is so you don't get a situation later down the line where tells you asking for anything to do with their order or potentially asking for a return. It could result into chargebacks and disputes, which is never good for your payment processor. Typically what we tend to do with our CS emails is have team and then at, and then usually it's your store name and then .com, .de, depending on which countries you sell to. So once you've purchased both of them, you will be given the email account. All you would need to do is just type in what email you want. So you just type in team at, and then you've got a professional email which the customers can then just contact you through, which you will later connect to your Shopify store. And then finally, all you need to create is a store Gmail. This is just for the store or any applications that you will be signing up to in the future. So all you need to type is Gmail, create a Gmail account, create an account. And then all you need to do then is put in your first, last name, and then for the username, all you need to do is have it somewhat like the store name, or any slight variation is fine. And then just proceed forward with creating the Gmail account. Once you've created your Gmail, all you need to do is go to this gear icon in the top right, click settings, click see all settings, go to accounts and import, and where it says send mail as, just edit the info, and then just change this to store name. And then that is everything set up in terms of the store Gmail. So once you've created the emails, it's onto the fun stuff, and this is when you can actually begin to start creating your Shopify online store. What we'd like to do when we create our stores is just keep them general at the start until you really find your niche. We want to keep it professional and high converting, and we want to give it that branded, trustworthy feel. So basically when a customer lands on your product page through the paid ads through Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, some might actually start navigating around your store. And if it doesn't seem trustworthy, they'll just click off straight away and you've just lost a potential customer. So what we like to do is use the free themes to start with, get your foot in through the door, and once you start generating some revenue, then you can look towards paying for one of the paid themes. At the start, just use one of the free themes. They're perfect to get you started with. And what I would say is keep it simple. Usually what we like to do is just use a free color scheme, i.e. black, white, and then a color of your choice, which is going to fit the brand and the feel of the store. What you should always be striving for is to make sure that your store is optimized for mobile conversions. This is because over 90% of your traffic will be through mobile, through your paid ads. And what we want to do for the homepage is make sure it's well laid out, with collections, products, and I'll show you an example later on. What we tend to use for logos and favicons is Canva. Canva is like Photoshop for people that don't really have the skills for it. But it's a great tool to use and I would highly recommend it. You can get the paid version, which is, I think, roughly £10 a month. But the free version to get you started with is fine. And then for the laid out collections, what you need to do is use high quality, royalty-free images. These can be sourced from places like Shopify Images, Pexels, and if you do pay for the Canva Pro account, there's some great options there as well. So what I'm going to do is take you through how to set up your Shopify store, set up your homepage. I'll go through the settings, and this is where you can either set up Shopify payments or Stripe. It's totally up to you. In that section, I'll also help you with creating shipping lines in the shipping and delivery section. And finally, you'll need to create some policies. We would recommend you using the Shopify templates and then just filling in the information which is required for your store, i.e. where they've asked for emails and your number and the store name. So let's get creating the Shopify account and creating your homepage. So all you need to do is use the link provided. So here, all you need to do is enter the email address, password, and the name of your store. As you can see now, it's creating your store. All you now need to do is just fill in these bits of information. Once you've filled out these bits of information, all you then need to do is click Enter My Store. Now you have a Shopify store account. The fun begins. So what I'd first do is I'd go over to the left-hand side and click on Online Store. I'll then go to Themes. So once it's loaded, what I'd recommend you do is have a look on the theme library and start just seeing what type of themes that's going to work well with your business or the feel of how you want the store to look. But I definitely recommend choosing the free themes first, and then once you start generating some revenue, definitely move over to the paid themes. Or even go to places like Fiverr or Upwork and hire someone to create a theme for you. This is so that when a customer lands on your store, it's not like every other dropship, it actually feels unique. So what I'm going to do now is click Visit Theme Store and just start looking at what I'd like my store to look like. I'd personally recommend just using the Dawn theme that comes with the Shopify straight away. But I mean, it's totally up to you. At the end of the day, this is how you want your store to look. So just click on them, have a play about, and just see where you want to go with it. I personally like the Dawn theme. I just think it looks really classy, simple, and you'll definitely see what I mean when you start playing about with it. So what I'm going to do is click Try Theme. So once you've downloaded the theme that you're happy with, all you then need to do is go to Customize. So this is where you can have a play about with how you want your store to look and feel. What I'm going to do is go away, work on the store how I typically have it laid out, and talk you through it. Hi guys, as you can see, I've gone away and I've designed the homepage of the store. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into it, explain a couple of things, and just show you what type of stuff I look out for and what I actually do. So all we'll need to do is just go over to Customize, and it'll actually take you into the theme. And as you can see, I actually just kept it the same as what Dawn sets it as, because I think it's really simple, really clean, and you can get a lot of good use out of just using what they've already provided. So first thing what I actually did was I created the logo. As you can see, I've named it Urban Vibe. This is because I went for a female fashion type store, so I thought that name would go quite well. Everything I've created within the homepage was all designed on Canva. So what I'd do is I'd highly recommend you creating an account. And like I mentioned on this sheet, For logos and favicons, I create them in Canva. I also actually created some of these collection images from Canva as well. But what you want to do for your collection images or any images or slideshows or collages or anything like that on your homepage, what you need to do is find some high quality royalty-free images. So I'd recommend either going on Shopify Images, where they actually provide some for you. So if you go select image and go free images, what you can do is actually find loads of high quality images that Shopify provide for you. So you can just go, you can either type and search or just click on one of these sections. And what you can do is actually find some really clean images, which will really help the look and feel of your store. Another one is obviously Pexel. Pexel is one of these royalty-free websites which you can get free stock images, and they're really high quality, which will definitely help with your brand image that you're going for. It's the same with like Shopify. Just type something in. And what you can do is just have a little scroll and just find what you're trying to look for. And then obviously finally, within your Canva account, we use Canva Pro just because we need it for certain things that we do. However, the normal Canva account's fine just to get you going if you just use the Shopify images or pixels. But if you do end up getting Canva Pro, you can find some really nice images like the ones that I'm about to show you on the store. So like I previously mentioned about how you want the store to look and feel like, obviously you want it branded, trustworthy feel. Keep it simple. You don't want a sensory overload, because the customer will just, when they've actually landed on your product page and then decided to navigate across your store, all they'll see is all these colors, different textures, and they might just end up clicking off because they don't like the look of it. So what we tend to do is go for a free color scheme, so white, black, and a color of your choice. If you're a bit stuck on what color you want to choose, just type into Google psychology of colors, or look at competitors or stores that you want to get inspiration from, and just pick one of them. Same when you're looking for your typography, just Google typography of popular websites. But at the end of the day, all you want it to do is make it clear so the customer can easily read it, and you're onto a winner. So let's jump back onto the store. So as you can see, I've just kept it very plain and simple. So as I mentioned earlier, I've just left it the same as what Dawn actually provides you, and I've just basically filled in the gaps. Straight away, in this announcement bar, I've just had it free shipping only today. Gives the customer a bit of urgency, as everyone just loves free shipping. But what you could also mention is you could have like when you spend over $50 or £50 or €50, you get free shipping. You could also mention, for example, like if you were selling to one of the Scandinavian countries, you could maybe get the Klarna logo in there, as that can be a selling point for some customers. So you could just put in there, buy now, pay later with Klarna. Kept the very simple home, catalog, contact. What you could also mention is tracking. You find these in the navigation section, which I'll be moving on to shortly. But basically you can just have a play about with what you want the store to be laid out basically. But you, like I mentioned, you just want to keep it simple. So home, catalog, what you can do is have a drop down section. So depending if you are doing a general store or if you're going to do a niche, you could have, for example, I've done women's fashion. You could split into the different sections. So you could have like a summer collection, fall, and then in that you can have, for example, jumpers, jackets, coats, that type of stuff. Obviously a contact us page. This will then lead onto a page where a customer can put their email in and ask you any questions, which will then take you to the customer support email that we bought earlier on GoDaddy. The first thing I did was image banner. I kept it really simple and created this on Canva. And basically all I'm highlighting is that we're having a Black Friday sale. This is going to intrigue customers because, like you can say, get up to 50% off this week, shop now. What I would recommend is you always have a call to action. This is so that you're telling the customer what to do. And what we would do is link this to a product page or a product collection just on the left-hand side here. I then moved on to kind of explaining what this is. So all I've put here is welcome to Urban Vibe. Born to stand out, we believe we can inspire customers to have a say in fashion. So like I said, this is obviously a woman's fashion store. It's just like a nice little message of saying what this company is about, because for most customers, this will be the first time they've heard of your store. So you need to start building a bit of a trustworthy feel and give them a bit more insight and just show them what your store is really about. So just a nice little sentence, then they can get a good idea what it is. I then would move on to a collection. So what we put here is a bestsellers, because obviously these would either be the products that you are selling the best. So it's just if a customer does go from a product page and navigates through to the home page, you're directing them back to a product page which is most likely one of your bestsellers, or you're trying to push it to be one of your bestsellers. I then moved on to more of a broader collections. So obviously named this Fall Essentials. This is just because it's the time of the year that we are in. And it just lays out a nice feel for the customer. Fall Essentials, what can you expect in the Fall Essentials? Jackets, sweatshirts, and some long sleeve shirts. Same again, if the customer is navigating through your store, this just pushes them back to a product page. And then finally, in this multi-column section, I've just put what the principles of the store are. So protect the planet, tailored and handpicked, and stand out. These could be some nice selling points for the customer. What you could do also is add some images to these, so it breaks up the text quite nicely. As for most of your customers, they'll be coming through mobile, so 90% of them will be viewing this on a mobile phone. So what you need to do is to optimize for mobile. So i.e. these images need to be in that format, just so when you do check the mobile view, it all fits up nicely and it doesn't look out of place or anything. So what I probably would change is just add some images in between these, just to break up the text so it looks a bit nicer and flows. So all you would do is just select image and just add something in. And then finally, this footer menu, this is the same as the main menu at the top. This would all be in navigations. So this is where you would put your various policies like refund, privacy policy, terms of service. And what you would do is probably put some contact information for the customer as well, just so it's visible on every page. So you don't have to just wander around the store to try find it. You can easily just put your store email address there, and then you could even, like some brands, put your opening hours just so it seems more like an actual brand than just a dropshipping store. And then obviously subscribe to your emails. This is so you can get them later with either email retargeting or when you start sending out some campaigns later down the line. What you can do is make this sound a bit nicer than subscribe to our emails. You could just put like sign up for an additional 10% discount, something along them lines. Just keep it nice, short and sweet. But that's essentially is just all I've done in these settings here. What you'd need to do when you actually build the theme out yourself and your homepage is you'd need to go through these different sections and just have a play about with them until you get the feel that you want with this store. So like in the header, this is where the logo is, like you can see here, but you can change the positioning of it. However you would want it. It's totally up to you, and it's what you think is going to work best for the store. But what I would recommend is just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. At the end of the day, you're paying for paid traffic. So as long as your site looks trustworthy and you have a winning product, you'll be fine. And then the next thing is to go over to theme settings. And this is where you're going to play about with the various colors that you choose. Like I mentioned, the typography. all you do is go into these and select which one you would like to choose. Same again, just go down these different settings, and basically all you're going to do is just have a bit of a play about with them until you find something that sticks and works. And then also favicon, this is just an abbreviation of the logo that you've created. And how I did both of these, like I mentioned earlier, is just created them in Canva. It took me a couple of minutes, very simple to do. And then what we can do is, I have saved this, is we just go back, and what we can do is actually view it. And this is what it would look like on a desktop. So like I mentioned, I would change, maybe add a couple images here just to break it up. But I mean, something as simple as this is going to be high converting, and you're onto a winner. And then once you're happy with that, all you need to do is make sure that it's published, and then you're good to go. Also, what I forgot to mention is the sizes of which you need the logos and the favicons and the collections. Like I mentioned earlier, everything needs to be optimized for mobile, as that's where most of your traffic's going to be. But for example, like the favicons, if we actually just go back and just click view your store, the favicon is actually the little logo that shows up here. So what you need it to be is obviously a square shape. So anything that's square shape's fine, because the Shopify will actually compress this down, which I can show you actually in the settings. Favicon, as you can see, will be scaled down to 32 by 32. So as long as you make it in a square shape, they'll do the rest of the work. With stuff like the logos, I've created this 800 by 300, but you're just going to have to play about with it and see what actually works for your store. Like I mentioned earlier, if you start playing about with where it's placed, you might need to have it longer or taller. So this is one that you're just going to have to play about with. Usually what I would recommend is just starting it off in a square shape and then just playing about with the dimensions later down the line when you know whereabouts it's going to go, and then you can just work out what the size needs to be and then just fit it in. Anything with the collections, they need to be a square shape, so 1080 by 1080 is fine with Canva. And then anything like this image banner is 2 by 1. So as long as you've got the dimensions, you can just play about with it in Canva, put it in, and then it should work fine. But apart from that, I believe that's all the dimensions that you would need to know. But like I mentioned, it depends on the theme that you're going to use as well. So just start off with the free theme, and then later down the line, you can play about with other themes, because what you can do is you can create images and sticky like main menus. So like when you scroll, this will actually stay. So what you would need to have that on is like a transparent background. Do the exact same as you did on Canva, but before you download it, you just change the background to transparent, and then when you scroll, this will actually stay. Or when it changes color, you can actually carry on still reading it. But apart from that, that's everything that you'd need to know in terms of the logos and favicons. Once you're happy with how your store looks, what you then need to do is move over to the left-hand side under online store, where it says blog post pages, navigations and preferences. What you then need to do is click on navigation, and this is basically where you're going to set up your footer and main menu sections. So what you'd like to do for your main menu is at the top. So keep it similar to what it is, where it says home, catalog, contact. You could even have like track my order in that section. And then for the footer menu, what you then need to have is, this is where you'd add your policies, which I will be showing you later on in this video. But all you'd need to do is just name them. So for example, refund, let's see. And then all you do is click the link, click policies, and once you've created them, this is where you'd click them. and you're able to add them in. Same with the main menu, just go to it, add catalog or products, and this is where you can link it to the products that you have on your store. And then all what you'll need to do, same with your homepage, is just translate it to the native language which you are selling to. And then one last thing to quickly mention after you've done navigation is preferences. As you can see here, title and meta description. So basically this is what shows up, for example, if you Google the store or anything. So this is really good for SEO. So I'll show you an example. So ASOS into Google. This is the type of thing that shows up. So homepage title, this would be this here, the ASOS online shopping for the latest clothes and fashion. And then homepage meta description, this is this bit here where it says discover the latest fashion trends with ASOS. So all you need to do is basically use a competitor or someone that you inspire the store to be like. Get a good idea of what they put and then just change it up to match what your store would be like. Down here is the social sharing image. So basically when you send the website, this is what appears. So they've already pulled this straight from the theme. Google Analytics. This is where you just paste in the code once you've set up your Google Analytics account. Facebook Pixel, we'll show you this in the next video where we'll talk about the different apps that we use. And obviously you've got your customer privacy. And at the minute, there is a password protection. This just happens when you first create a store. So once you've selected a plan, you can just turn this off and then anyone can view your store. Or if you're working on it, you can put a password on it so that if someone does search for your store, they can't just start browsing about the store if you're doing any work on it. And that's basically it for all the sections under online store. What you may need to do in pages is also create a contact us page, which already is there. So this basically will just connect straight to the one on your main menu. Just so, like I mentioned earlier, if a customer has any questions or queries, this will then connect straight to your customer service email. All you would then need to do is just go to add page, just type contact, and then select the contact option under online stores and theme template, and then just click save, and that's it. And obviously what you would need to do is just translate this to whatever country's native language that you are selling in. So once you've created your navigation section and you're happy with how the store looks with the theme and how you've laid it out, all you then need to do is go to settings and just finish up setting the rest of the store. So then all you need to do is go down these individual sections and just fill them out how you need to. So then the first one's store details. All you need to do is make sure these emails are correct, i.e. so store contact email is the one you've created the store with, and then in the sender email, this is where you need to change it to the one you bought with GoDaddy, as this is a customer support email. So if a customer tries to contact you through your online store, it will go straight to that mailbox instead of your own. Then all you need to do is make sure your store currency is correct and it matches the country you're selling to. Time zone is the capital of the country you're selling to. Imperial system, all I do is just change this to metric and kilograms, and then edit order ID format. All I tend to do is just do a prefix of just the first two letters or an abbreviation of your store name, and then just click save. Once you've filled out the store details, I'd move on to plan. Just select the cheapest one for now until you really get going. Next, users and permissions. This is where you can add staff accounts and your suppliers onto the store. All you need to do is click add staff, type in the names, the email address, and then all you need to do is just give them access to certain parts of your store. I would never give anyone full access apart from yourself. And once you've clicked on all of them, all you then need to do is click the send invite button. Payments. This is where you can either set up your Shopify payments or Stripe. You choose, either's fine. You can also add additional payment methods. So like I was saying earlier, if you sell to a certain country, like for example, Germany, you will need PayPal. So this is where you add it in. Or if you are selling to one of the Scandinavian countries like Sweden, this is where you'd add in Klarna. All you do is add the payment methods by clicking on the button there. Next, checkout. This is where you just need to make sure all the settings are set up correctly. So scroll down, customer information, I'd always require first and last name, company name not include, optional, shipping address, phone number, I'd have that as set as required. For tipping, we actually like turning tipping on because this is an easy way of just generating extra cash without doing anything. What we'd like to have it set as is 2.5, 5, and 10. Order processing, everything there is fine. Consent for marketing is fine. And then right at the bottom, checkout language, all you then need to do is click manage checkout language and change it to the country that matches your store. So i.e., if you're selling to Germany, have it in German. If you're selling to Sweden, have it set up in Swedish. Next is shipping and delivery. This is where we're going to set up our shipping lines for the countries that we're selling to. So all you need to do is go over here, click manage. Then you just need to come over to the right hand side and click create shipping zone. And then all you need to do is just type in free shipping, get it translated with either Depot or Google Translate. I'd recommend just using Depot. Type that into the zone name and then select the country. So for example, if I'm selling to Germany, I'll just click Germany. And then all you need to then do is add a rate. What we like to do is have it set as free shipping. This is just obviously, most of the time customers just expect it nowadays. So all you need to do is factor in this when you're doing your pricing for your products. Then we'll just have it set up your own rates. I'd have it create a custom flat rate. And same again, I'd get this translated, but I'd just type in shipping, have it set as 0, done, and there you are, you have created a shipping line for your store. Once you've done shipping and delivery, all you then need to do is click on to markets and make sure the market matches the country that you are selling to. Then next, go over to domains. This is where you're going to connect the domain you bought on GoDaddy earlier. So all you need to do is click connect existing domain, type it in, click next, and then it will connect automatically for you. And then all you'll need to do is make sure the domain that you bought from GoDaddy is set as your primary domain. After you've done your domain, go over to languages, add a language, and this is where you're going to add the language of the country that you are selling to. So if I'm selling to Germany, click German, next, add to markets, and done. And then that's all you need to do. And once you've added the language that you are selling to, you may need to go back to checkout and make sure manage checkout language matches the language of the country you are selling to. Then finally, policies. What I'd recommend is just to use the templates that Shopify provide you and then just get them translated and add in the certain information to match the store. So what we'll do is just click create from template, and then all you'll need to do is make sure the information matches your store, i.e. the email is correct, insert return address is correct, and then all you'll need to do is make sure that this is all translated into the native language. So what I'll do is just copy all of this, go over to Depot. Once you're in Depot, I'll just have it set up ready, paste it in, and then all you need to do is copy this information, and paste it in like so. What you will need to do is just make sure to delete this last bit saying that you use Depot. And that's it for video number 1. We've gone through how to create your emails, buy your domain, set up your homepage. In the next video, I'll be going through the various apps we use for our Shopify stores. If you do have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Facebook group. Hi there, in this video I'll be talking about the different apps/applications that you'll need with your Shopify store. These are the apps that we use for our typical day-to-day running of the store. So we highly recommend you using these. So I'm just going to run you through what each one of them does and why we use them, and then show you where to find them in the App Store. And for some of them, we'll show you how to actually set them up and get yourself going. But if you do have any questions, please do ask them in the group. So the first one would be Klaviyo. This is basically what you use for your email flows, for your campaigns. So like I've mentioned, it is some of the ones we use it for. So site abandonment, browser abandonment, abandoned cart, and obviously a customer thank you. And then what you can also do is set up various campaigns when you've collected all the emails. So you can have like your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or any like Christmas sales. And typically what you'd do is you would add discount codes to these to just entice the customers to purchase from your store. We can help you set up basic flows if you'd like, if you just ask in the group. However, we do work quite closely with an email marketing team, and if you would like to use their service, we can easily get you connected. Next one is SMS Bump. So this is just the exact same as Klaviyo. However, this is obviously for SMS, so text messages. So once you've actually got the customer's number, same again, you can set up abandoned cart flows. So we would typically do 5 minutes, hour, 24 from when the customer obviously had the abandoned cart, and then same again, you can set up various campaigns. Another one that we use for tracking, which is essential, is Triple Whale. As everyone knows, with all the updates since iOS 14 and everything, tracking has basically been impossible. However, with Triple Whale, it pretty much makes it 100%. Also, Triple Whale is good for tracking your net margins, so your profit, as long as you put all the relevant information in. What we would recommend is you use our discount code just to save yourself a bit more money, because it can be quite pricey. But I'll show you how to connect that all up later on. DSs, we use this importing products from AliExpress. So basically all you need to do is just add this to your Chrome extension, and then when you're on AliExpress, you'll have an option to import to DSs, and then it'll take you straight to the DS's dashboard, and this is where you can play about with various things from the product title, description, pricing, all that, and then you can actually push it onto your Shopify store, or you can actually just change it up in the Shopify store. A good one that we use is Judge.me for the product reviews. This is because it's free, and it is essential for when you're selling, because this helps with the trustworthy feel. If a customer, this is the first time they've landed on your store and you've got no product reviews, then the likelihood of them converting to an actual customer could be very slim. So we would recommend you using this. And then obviously you'd need the various advertising platforms, so Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Google. This is where you'll sort out all of the pixels and everything and get yourself properly set up, so then when you actually do start selling on the various platforms, you're good to go. Ones to mention as well, Pocky. This is a paid service. I think it's roughly about $3 a month. However, it essentially does the exact same thing as DS's. However, you can actually end up importing products from other people's stores. So if you find a winner, it makes it very easy to quickly just go on it, put the link of the competitor's URL, put it in, and they'll copy everything straight across for you. And then all you need to do then is just tweak a few things. Mobile Up is one that the suppliers use. This is what they use to fulfill the orders and everything. Disable Right Click Pro is good for stopping competitors trying to steal images or anything off your store, as this disables their access. Klarna On-Site Messaging. We would recommend this if you're selling to any of the Scandinavian countries that require Klarna. Basically, they've got some features which make it super helpful for your store to make it look as trustworthy as possible, as you can have certain bits in your banner, on your product page, which basically display that they can use Klarna. So obviously it's buy now, pay later. So it's another way of trying to help convert these customers. A parcel tracking app of some sorts, any would do. Basically, this just helps the customer. If they've got their email or a tracking number, they can basically just plug it in and they can see roughly where their package is, so that your customer service aren't getting constant emails asking where their package is. So it saves them a lot of time. Another one we use is Zipify. This is just an upsell at the end. This is great for increasing your AOV. And lastly, TrackyPal. This is what we would recommend if you're selling on PayPal. Basically, it helps connect your orders and tracking numbers if you've got any disputes on PayPal. It makes it super easy, so we would recommend that. So basically what I'm going to do now is go into the store and show you whereabouts you'd find all this. So on this left hand side you can see apps. Just click that and then just click app and sales channel settings. And then here where you see Shopify App Store, just click that. And then once you're on the App Store, all you need to do is type in the various apps that we've suggested for you. These can always change in the future as you grow your business and want to experiment with different apps, but we just recommend these to get you going. So like here, some of them already suggested, like DSs. So all you need to do is just click it, add app. Once it's shown this screen, all you need to then do is just click install app. And then all you'll need to do is go through the process of registering yourself an account. Very simple to do, and I would recommend just using the free one for now. Same with most of these apps, we just suggest you doing the free ones for now, apart from Triple because that is essential for tracking and being able to actually properly manage your ads. Like I mentioned, these can easily change to paid apps once you start actually generating some revenue. It's just good to use the free ones for now, just to get your foot in the door. With all these apps, make sure to look out for any discount codes in the group chat. This will obviously help you save a lot of money in the long run.
What's up guys, and welcome to another module. In this module we're going to be going over the product research strategies that we use for our stores. So first of all, some points to know. We prefer to find our own winning products that have a much higher potential to scale. Now this doesn't mean we don't do any competitor research, but we do prefer to find products that have a higher likelihood that haven't been scaled yet. So typically they do much higher numbers. So secondly, we want to avoid directly competing with other dropshippers that have already scaled a product. There's a few different ways that we avoid directly competing. First of all, make sure not to directly just rip a product that's already running out there. If we do take a product, make sure to try at least a new angle. We would try new creatives, and thirdly, ideally a new market. So what can work really well is taking a product from like USA and bringing it to Europe. It can perform very well. But even still, we would always test new creatives. We would test new marketing angles as well. And thirdly, taking products from competitors is a great way to get some cheap sales, but they'll usually never scale as high as a brand new winning product. And thirdly, taking products from competitors is a great way to get some cheap sales coming in, but they'll usually never scale as high as a brand new winning product. How we do research. The main way we like to do research is AliExpress cold research, which is basically randomly searching on AliExpress. Now we could be searching for one particular category or categories that take more of our interest, but generally we like to do it pretty random. We like to start off on the AliExpress homepage a lot of the time, we'll just scroll down and just start clicking stuff and opening products in new tabs. And basically the AliExpress homepage is like a suggestion algorithm. So basically AliExpress is guessing which products you're interested in. So the more products you select in a certain category, they will start showing you more in that particular category. We'll typically just open things that take our interest or catch our eye, and we will scroll down to the more to love section at the bottom of the AliExpress pages, and we'll just keep clicking and open up new products at the bottom of those pages, products that we haven't seen before, and then that's what will give us like new suggestions and eventually products that seem like winning products that meet our criteria that I will go through shortly. Also, random searches is another one, searching different keywords, putting them together in the search bar, different niches. So like if it's near Christmas, search Christmas, or like Halloween, or different like fashion items, and then add like adjectives that you see in other product names on AliExpress. So secondly, competitor research. What we do is we add the biggest stores we find into like a Google Sheet, and we will just check on them every week which products they're launching, and we'll use certain spy tools to see which new products they're adding each week. And we try to avoid launching in the same market as them, ideally, but if we can get on it quickly within the same week, we can potentially scale it faster than them before they can get a chance. Spy tools. So the main spy tools that we like are Ali Hunter, which you can use on AliExpress, which is really good. It shows you a graph of the recent sales for an AliExpress product, which gives you a good indication of how well the product is doing, or at least gives you an indication of the interest in a product. And there is also another tool that you can use in the Chrome extension on other stores as well, and that will show you like live sales data, recently added products, things like that as well. PP Spy basically does the same thing as Ali Hunter for spying on the stores, just like gives you another data point. Shop Hunter, this one is really good for your list of stores that you gather. You can put in the URLs for the different stores, and it basically can track the estimated daily revenue of that particular store, as well as like the live orders for different products and best-selling products. It's not 100% accurate, but it is the most accurate type of spy tool I've seen, like in this category that I've seen. So yeah, I recommend it. And PP Ads is good for TikTok research. So we still primarily like Facebook the best for the highest skill, but what we can do is take products that are working on TikTok and introduce them to Facebook. This strategy works pretty well, like new trend products, or it's just good for inspiration as well to see, you know, what's working at the moment, what kind of trends are popping off at the moment. And if you do decide to take a product that, you know, if there is a product that is really picking up on PP ads on TikTok, I would still recommend testing new creatives rather than directly ripping everything. I would test new angles, new creatives. So there's 4 criteria that we generally look for in a product. The first one being attention grabbing. Basically, it's certain characteristics that will stop a person scrolling on their newsfeed, or the product has some sort of unique twist to it. So like if it's a pair of shoes, you know, it's not just a normal basic pair of shoes. It's, you know, it has some sort of unique feature about it. For example, like a backpack, it has, for example, like an anti-theft lock on it, or a USB port, something like that makes it stand out. It's more unique. It has eye-catching images. If you plan on running an image ad, the images are super important. They must be high quality. You don't want to be running like blurry images. We actually run 80 to 90% images, as long as it makes sense to run an image ad for that product. If the product needs explained at all, the product needs a video. If it solves a problem, it needs a video, and you need to explain those benefits in the video. You need to agitate the pain point in the video, and then follow up with the benefits. Or if it's just something that needs explained, if it's a product with a wow factor that needs to be demonstrated, for example, like, you know, like galaxy lamps or something like that. For all videos, it needs to grab attention within the first 3 seconds, but ideally just instantly, because everyone's attention span is getting shorter and shorter. So the second one being high perceived value, basically a product that's perceived as high quality is a high perceived value product. So we prefer to go for products like this rather than, you know, we stay away from the cheap gadget type products, toys, things that are low perceived value. We typically stay away from. A lot of dropshippers try to sell like the new trendy gadgets. We just stay away from that stuff. We find we make way more selling like high quality home decor products or high quality clothing, jewelry, stuff like that. Appearance of the product is of a much higher value of the AliExpress price. So which kind of ties into the third one, which is optimal price point. So can our product be marked up 2.5 times to 3x the price displayed on AliExpress? Now, typically you'll be getting a quote if you're using our supplier. You'll be getting typically a better price than AliExpress, but when we're looking at products, get a general idea on AliExpress and you just know you're going to get the product for a bit cheaper than AliExpress. So we mark up like 2.5 times to 3 times the price. So just ask yourself, okay, this product costs $15. Is it worth $40? Does it look like it's worth $40 to me? Or, you know, if it's a $10 cost, does it look like it's worth $30? If yes, then it's good to go. If not, then I would skip that product. Typically, you know, we want to get at least like $20 margin minimum. We don't really mess with products that are cheaper than that unless it seems like it's going to be a really hot seller and we can make bundle variants for that product. Typically, we make bundle variants on the product page, or like a bundle, a discount on the product page, a code that you can use to get discounts on multiple units, and then that will help our AOV. And the last one, mass appeal. So does the product appeal to a large enough audience or niche? So we can still sell niche products. It just means, you know, we don't want to be too niche. We don't want to limit ourselves too much. We prefer selling products that, you know, sell to a lot of people. We can usually sell them a lot longer, like products in the fashion niche, home decor, even like health products that are a bit trickier to advertise. We avoid things that are just too niche down. The next part is the process. So the whole research process is separated into 3 different steps. So the first step just being the research step, which is doing the actual research itself, going on AliExpress, scrolling. And what you want to have is the de-essers Chrome extension installed into Google Chrome, and just save the products as you go. So save the products as you're researching, save the ones that stand out to you the most, that meet all the criterias. If you're doing competitor research on spy tools, save any competitor links into Google Sheet. So have a product research sheet for those, and then you can come back to those as well, and you can find it on AliExpress. There's also another good Chrome extension called AliExpress Search by Image, which you can use. You can right click an image and you can find it on AliExpress. Selection. After we've saved maybe 20 to 40 products in de-essers, what we'll then do is go into de-essers. Once we're happy, we've found a lot of products that we're fairly excited about. We want to be pretty confident with our selection. And then what we're going to do is then come in and decide which products we actually want to test. So we want to really narrow it down. We want to start removing any products that we're having second thoughts about and only keep the products that we are super confident in and remove the rest. It's better to test more quality products than a whole load of average products. So whatever fits your budget to start with. I think like 10 products is like a good starting point in a week, but whatever suits you the best. If you just go for 10, you know, if you find like 20, 40, you should find some quality ones out of that. And then the last part is the important process. So you can then import straight to your Shopify store from de-essers. And typically what we do is just name the products at the same time, maybe remove some variants that you don't want to keep or some photos that you don't want to keep. You can do that before you import them. Typically we name the product then, and then we will save the products in a Google Sheet so that we can keep track of our testing. It's much better to be organized rather than throwing products at the wall and next thing you know, you've forgotten what you've tested over time. It's good to keep a record of it. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you a demonstration on how we do product research on AliExpress. So you can start off with the collections to get some inspiration on what you want to sell, but generally we don't really go through the collections too much, as we find it kind of shows us the same products after a while, but it's good for inspiration. You can still find some good products in here, but typically after a while it will show you the same things. So yeah, I'll just go back to the homepage now. So you can go through the different collections and you can click the sub collections here. What we like to do to start off is just literally start on the homepage. You can click these sales and things like this here as well, and go down those rabbit holes. So basically we're just looking for rabbit holes to go down. So anything that, you know, we're not really looking at the order count either. We prefer actually products that have less orders in general. So I'm just going to go down and start opening products that take my interest, and any that grab my attention, that are attention grabbing, and just remembering the 4 criteria that we spoke about. This product was a winner from last year, the Christmas lights, quite like that. Balaclavas, old winner. And you're just scrolling, see anything that pops out. We do like a lot of fashion products. And remember, we're looking for products with high perceived value as well. And typically, you know, I'm moving very fast. Just opening products up in new tabs that catch my attention the most, and we'll just do this for a while, basically until there's not really anything decent left in the home feed. Like, it'll just end up showing us, eventually we'll come to a dead end, or I'll just start showing us like just products that we're not interested in, maybe just gadgets, stuff like that. Jewelry can be good too, especially niche jewelry. Jewelry that's in a passionate niche can do very well, like religion, stuff like that. You want to make sure you stay away from, obviously, trademarked things, trademarked products. Typically, we stay away from mainly, yeah, just anything that could cause harm to the customer. Any like products with like sharp blade in it, or anything that's, yeah, like that's got maybe it's a lighter, like with lighter fluid in it, you know, anything that with liquids, we stay away from it, causes issues. It's difficult to ship. It's quite funny. I've not seen that. Kind of unique sunglasses, although it's not the season. I know this is sold well. This sweater has sold really well for us before. Boots look quite good. This is obviously New York sort of knockoff, so you stay away from anything like that. But could get you in trouble. This is an old winner. Phone screen magnifier. That's kind of like a product that a typical dropshipper would try and sell. We don't really tend to go for these kind of products. It's kind of, I mean, it could sell maybe with that photo, but yeah, it's not a product that we typically try and sell. I mean, you couldn't sell for like $30 maybe. Could maybe test it. Here on Alley Hunter as well, it's getting some orders. It might be quite good for like Christmas, so it's not bad. Maybe sell for $30. It's got a bit of perceived value. So if you want to save this one, we have the de-essers app installed, so we just click add to de-essers. Well, one thing you need to make sure of is you need to have the de-essers app open. Okay, so now the de-essers app's open. It's allowing us to import the products to de-essers. So yeah, so this product we've sold before as well. I think it wasn't like a super big winner, but it brought in some revenue for some time, for some weeks. And yeah, just anything else that takes your interest. anything else that looks high quality. This one, for example, would test this. Looks super nice, super high quality. Would test, would make some new images like on Canva, just remove the background, use the background remover and test a few different images. This is a nice product. Would test this. See, there's like different options here with different inner lining. We just find one that has variants that are all the same. You don't want to go too, you don't want to make the mistake of having too many variants as well. Like typically around like 5 colors, like maybe 6 absolute max is kind of like a good rule of thumb. We find typically like 3 variants are the best. From our experience, usually our biggest winners have like 2 or 3, usually about 3 variants. So for the sizes as well, we have to be careful with sizing for clothing. So it's hard to get absolutely perfect. But typically, if working with our supplier, they can advise you on how to change the sizing for European or US sizing. So typically, it's usually for men's jackets. We change the sizing 2 or 3 sizes down. So for example, like a large would either be a small or an extra small, depending on the dimensions. And yeah, for men's like pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them, typically they're 1 size down. Again, good to confirm with the supplier. And usually for women's clothing, we just send them the same the same size. Okay, so yeah, so this section down here is really great. The more to love section, or you may also like, so it's just a suggestion section. So what we'll do is just come down here and find more products that take our attention and look really good, and just open them up as well. And you just keep going down the rabbit holes. Just keep going down the rabbit holes, opening up new ones and checking them here. This some sort of logo. You kind of have to watch with some products that have got logos. Make sure it's not a brand of any kind. And yeah, you just kind of have to develop your eye for the products. Try to learn what looks good and what doesn't. That's all you need to do. What looks kind of trendy for fashion, you don't want to be choosing products that are a bit too out there, a bit too crazy, especially for men. For women, I think like you can be a bit more out there with the designs and stuff. But for example, like these like bright glossy jackets, I mean, these will be kind of less popular as they're more flashy, but they could sell as, it is eye-catching. So potentially would test this. Sometimes a good indicator of the product's picking up, is if there's a lot of other suppliers selling the same products down here. This is an old winner. This hoodie right here. You see the Alley Hunter is really useful. Big graph. You can get an idea if this is another old winner as well. We sold like a couple hundred K of this one. This was a big winner last year. These lights, so would be good to test again for this year. You can test old winners as well, especially if you tested products last year. You can test them again this year, and they could scale again. It won't typically scale like the first time, but you should make some money. You just kind of have to, you don't want to just be testing anything. You want to really kind of test products that look unique. Like, even though, for example, Christmas is coming soon, you don't want to just test random Christmas products just because it's Christmas. Like, you still want to try and find unique products. Just keep scrolling and just keep scrolling. Open up in new tabs, keep scrolling. Also, you can check the stores as well, check their top selling, sometimes new arrivals, see if they've got anything else. This one. Like, this one looks good. It's got four variants. Ideally, yeah, for the clothing, if you need to mark down 2 sizes, you ideally want at least an XL. That's in Europe or US size. For shoes, typically, if it's already European size, we leave it the same. US size, we'll leave it the same. We don't change the sizes of shoes normally, unless the chart is way up, unless we've been advised by the supplier, but yeah, usually not. And yeah, we can just go, once we go through everything we find, we can come back to the home page, we can refresh. And we can, again, this should have new products now. So we can open up new tabs from products, like from this list down here as well. And we can also do some random searches as well. Can type in different words. For example, so you can make a list and write down all of these different words, and then you can search them in here with different adjectives. Oh, I don't know. It's switching all to Indonesian now. But yeah, it's good to do random searches, switch up. Typically, you know, probably avoid products that have just got like random text on it and doesn't make sense. It's gonna harm the sales for sure. This is a nice jacket. I would definitely test this. Just test some new creatives, different backgrounds. Just cut out the product. Scary looking mask. This is like Halloween. Unfortunately, Halloween's past now, but Halloween is also a good opportunity. You want to be thinking about all these different events like Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and you want to get early, like 2 months early, ideally. Because eventually you're going to get to the point you're going to have to turn your ads off, or you're going to get like a whole load of disputes from people that haven't received their item on time. I would test something like this that is really eye-catching. I have seen this before. You would need to edit a video of this. I would check other suppliers and see if they have better videos. But yeah, this is a good like kind of product it's got that viral appeal about it. And I know because I've actually sold this one before as well. These shoes are super old, really saturated now. And the only way to get better at this is just putting in the hours and doing research. Research is mainly like, this is like number one thing that drives success is it's the amount of time that you put into research. Everything else is fairly straightforward. Research is like the number one most important thing. This is like this is eye-catching, but it's just a fairly basic cross necklace, crucifix necklace. It's got some orders, but maybe in the early days it could have run. But yeah, it doesn't look like anything super special. I think I've seen this one selling before. It's a bit different. This one's the Jesus one. It's a bit crazy. A lot of the hip hop line type stuff. Some of it can sell, however, yeah, it's usually not that scalable. There's a lot of people kind of like, you know, that want to buy that sort of jewelry. Typically they like buying from a brand that's got like higher perceived value than a dropshipping store. It would be better to have like a niche jewelry store, and then it should convert better. There's a lot of women's boots and stuff. We've sold a lot of women's heels, boots, things like that in the past. But typically, you know, especially if you're a guy, I don't recommend like just trying to focus on, you know, these kind of products that you might not understand so well. Trying to like stick to products that you're going to understand more. Yeah. So just keep opening up new tabs, and yeah, to be honest, this is not, it's getting orders, but it's not really something I would test. These boots look pretty nice for women. You can make like collages as well. Like this photo. This video is not great. Like this photo here, you could test that, and then you could test maybe this one or something. I know it's not the best actually. Maybe I wouldn't test them. It's a maybe. So yeah, we just come back, and I've also sold a lot in the home decor niche as well. Different, even like figurines, lamps, sculptures, can do really well as well. And yeah, high perceived value, and then some products can get issues. This is an old winner, this tree lamp. If they're fragile, you have to be careful. Like plates and things like that, they're made of ceramic or glass, you have to watch out for. Another product, another category that we stay away from are typically baby products. We don't really want to sell anything that, you know, could make a child sick, like, you know, if they put it in their mouth or something like that. We don't want to be getting in trouble for anything. So that's another category we stay away from. Have a look at the lambs. This currency really needs, it shouldn't be under here. €1 or US dollar. No, it's pounds, that'll do. Oh, this was a massive winner recently, this lamp on TikTok and Facebook as well. It's just a video like this with this kind of, must be like a TikTok filter or some app filter in the video, and you can see down here there's loads of them. So if you really wanted this kind of product, you could order it yourself and film. do your own content. Like user-generated content works really, really well. You get the product into his hands of someone. It just takes a bit longer to do. It's not typically the model that we do. We prefer testing a lot of products from AliExpress with the content that we can find online. And then if we do find a winner, typically we will try and get user-generated content or UGC for that product if it was really successful, which will help us continue scaling it in the long run, giving us more material. But it's not always like required, but it's like for some products, a little bit difficult to get UGC, but this was another one of this Featherland. Super unique. It's got, you know, a fairly high perceived value as well. You can easily sell this for 35, 40 euros, 40 or dollars, no problem. And it's a cool gift as well for like Christmas. You could test, just the photo would be perfect. Like you just test, like that photo looks really nice, like really nice. This is pretty unique, this LED willow tree. I haven't seen this. It's pretty unique. It's something I would maybe test. Looks like realistic. I've seen similar sort. You could test maybe with a video, like you need to edit it, make it way faster and shorter. There's a couple here. Balaclavas, sold a lot of these in the past. Kind of lower perceived value. Harder to sell over like 20 bucks. But you can create bundles. You can create bundle variants to sort of build that average order value. Or you can have the discount code. These hoods as well. So we do sell a lot of seasonal products. They are typically, you know, really quite obvious. The only thing is, you're going to have between the seasons, they're going to die out, and then you'll need to find new products and new seasons. But yeah, we love seasonal products, like your thermal clothing and things like this for winter, and then your shorts, swimsuits, whatever, in summer. But yeah, this is basically our product research strategy in AliExpress. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next module. Hello guys, and welcome to another module. In this particular module, we're going to be going over product page building. So we already have 5 products here already selected and imported into de-essers. So we're going to click the first product here and edit. Now at this stage, we're just going to name the products as well. So for this one, we've come up with first Forester thermal jacket. We just keep it fairly simple, but we like to be creative, come up with unique names for each product. We think that coming up with unique names, creative names, can definitely help the success of the product. We don't want to have the same name as all the other sellers, so we're happy with that. We'll just click push to Shopify and click save. Click continue selling when out of stock. We won't publish to the online store yet. Push to Shopify. And that's the first product imported to our store. So I'll now be able to find it in our store, and we just continue with the rest of the products here. Okay, so we've just went and prepared 5 products here. This is the kind of test sheet that we'd usually use just for keeping a record of all the products we're preparing and launching. So we'll just start with the first one here. So this is all the product prices that we've set, the cost of goods here. So we get the cost of goods from our supplier quotes, the quotes that the supplier have given us for each product. So it's slightly different to the AliExpress prices. We've set all these in euros here since we're running a Euro store. So here's the profit margin as well. So the product price minus the COGS, the break-even ROAS, which is break-even return on ad spend, which you'll need for running your ads. And here's a little calculation for working out our profit ROAS. So we have a profit ROAS as well we like to calculate, which helps with profitability. You know, we always want to be sitting at 20% net profit, so that's how we like to manage our ads. So we'll just start off with the first one. Okay, so we just go for short descriptions usually for our products. We don't want to distract the customers with long descriptions when it's not necessary. For a lot of the products we test don't really need long descriptions. So we just go for 2 to 3 sentences, and we use as many adjectives as possible to increase the perceived value of the product and ensure the customers that it's a high quality item. It's made of high quality materials. Make sure you're honest about the materials that are in the product. You don't want to sell anyone any false information, so that can result in disputes. And we want to always make sure that we've got high quality images. We don't want any blurry images, and some detail images, an image of the inside as well is really good. The number of variants here, we usually narrow down. If there's loads and loads of variants, we want to narrow them down usually to like 5 maximum that we like, rarely more than that, unless it's obviously sizes are excluded from this, but for like colors or different styles of a product, usually like 5, 6 absolute maximum. Usually there might be a couple of exceptions, but yeah, usually we see around 3 is a really good sweet spot. But if it's like 5, we're not typically going to remove more unless some colors or some variants are pretty low quality. Maybe the images are not good, we can't find any good images, then we'll just remove them and keep the best options. We can search AliExpress for more high quality images also. You can search other supplier pages and just make sure the pricing is all set, the price you've decided for the product. We want to always make sure we've got a good margin, at least. Yeah, we usually mark up 2.5 times to 3 times. More expensive products, we sometimes lean more towards just a 2x markup, but yeah, we want to make sure we've always got a good margin. So to the next one. Okay, so the vintage rocket lamp. So this is a very unique lamp that we just found on AliExpress. I've seen similar kind of lamps like this do very well. It's kind of like steampunk style, very unique. Some people really like having these vintage style ornaments in their house. It can be very popular. So usually for lamps and things like this, it's the unique products that we want to test. Products that people haven't seen before and they couldn't just buy in a shop in their town. So we would just run a couple image ads for this as well. The main image, maybe, and another one potentially. Usually we like to test 3 creatives per product. Maybe this one here, this one. Sometimes we edit images. It might be quite a bit difficult for this kind of product, but we can edit out the size drawings here to test that one. Okay, on the next one. Okay, so we've got a hoodie here. Just a nice casual drawstring design. These can be really popular. One thing actually, there's a couple duplicate images here that we can just remove. So again, 2 to 3 sentences, adjectives, increase that perceived value. We've got 5 variants this time. We narrowed it down a lot. One thing to note is about the sizing. So these are usually Asian size. AliExpress is getting a little bit better with European and US sizing. But for, in particular, men's tops and bottoms, the Asian sizes are very different. So bear that in mind. Our supplier, if you use them, will give you size charts for every product that you get quoted and measurements, so you can manually then adjust the sizing. As a rule of thumb, if it is Asian size, usually for men's tops like sweaters, hoodies, t-shirts, shirts, are usually 2 sizes down. But we obviously want on our website to have US sizing or European sizing. So this 3XL here would be like a 5XL Asian size. Large would be a 2XL typically, but always make sure, this is just a rough rule of thumb, always confirm with the size charts from the supplier. And yeah, they're for jackets. Sometimes it's 3 sizes down that you need to size down. And for men's bottoms, it's 1 size down, usually, like shorts or trousers, pants. Okay, on the next one. Okay, women's jacket. You could say it's a hoodie as well. So it's nice fur design on it. So you can boast about the comfort a lot, the softness of the material, and how warm it's going to make them feel. You wanna kind of paint a picture in the customer's mind in the description, how it's going to make them feel when they wear the product. Talk about, like, even if it's just a clothing item, almost talk about how it's going to make them feel when they wear the product, not just what the product is and what it's made of, but try to them have like an emotional reaction about it. Paint that image in their head, how it's going to make them feel. So we've actually got 6 colors here, so we would maybe cut one out, but it's okay. Usually for women's sizing, we just keep it the same, but again, make sure to confirm with the supplier, just get the sizing checked, check the size charts to make sure the pricing is also set. Okay, so on to the last one here. So this is a bit of a different one. So we've went for a slightly different style of description for this one. So we've went for a title here, because it's a bit of a longer description because the product has features that need explained. So just a standard 2 to 3 sentence description doesn't really cut it for this one. So we went for a longer description style, but it's still not like super long. So we've got the title here. It's usually just a bold statement on what the product's going to do for the person. It's going to transform their home. And then we just go into talking about the features and benefits of the product. So when you talk about the features of a product, you want to also tie in those benefits as well and how it's going to make them feel. So we just talk about the features down here as well, and almost like benefits too. And yes, we also put a GIF here, especially products like this that have that wow factor about them. We got the video from AliExpress and we maybe cut it down to 10 to 20 seconds and just run that as an ad. And then we just put this here as well. So if you can have a GIF here that matches also the ad that you're running, that can be really effective. It just shows the main feature of the product. It'd just be like a very short GIF, like 8-9 seconds, and then just another high quality image here just to break up that text a little bit, and then just some features. And but it's mainly a feature product than a benefit product, but we do try to tie in some benefits, how it's going to make them feel, how it's going to improve their home at Christmas, things like that. And again, we search for more images, highest quality images that we can find for that specific product. And yeah, that's basically it for that module, and that's how we build the product pages. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next module.
Okay, everyone, so in this section, I am going to show you how to set up your Facebook and how to connect your domain and everything around that. So it can be a little bit confusing, so I just wanted to walk you through the process. So first things you're going to need to get is a Facebook page. Now, you can come under your business settings, or if you've already created a Facebook page, that's completely fine. You can just connect it in here. And if we're going to create a page from the Business Manager, we're just going to go to Accounts, Pages, and we're just going to go to this Add button. Now, you can add a page, as in an existing one, or you can create a page. So we're going to create a page. We're going to go to Brand our Product, and we're going to choose the category. In this case, we're going to put clothing, and our store is called Urban Vibe, and we can just create the page like this. Now, this is going to create our Facebook page, and we can just do a couple of settings inside here. Okay, our page is created, so let's go to now view the page. And this is super simple. Now we just need to make some edit. We want to start by adding a cover photo to the page. And we also want to add the profile picture. Now, the cover photo can just be something nice, something related to what the store is, and that's this section here. And the profile picture can just be something as simple as the logo. For the domain section, what we need to do is we need to go into the Business Manager, and we need to go into Brand Safety. And under that, we'll find domains. Now, to connect up our domain, we just need to go Add. We need to click Create New Domain, and we need to take our domain from Shopify or wherever you've bought this. So we take our domain, we copy it in here, and we click Add. And we wait for that to load. Now, how you're going to want to connect this, the easiest route that I recommend would be to add a DNS text record to your domain. And it's very simple. You can just click copy this, and then you just follow the instructions. So basically it says, follow the instructions to add this TXT domain to your DNS record. So we'll go to here. We'll go to Domain Settings. We'll edit the DNS settings, and we'll add a custom record. Now, it told us to add a TXT record, so we're going to add the TXT record, and we're going to put the @ symbol there, and then we're going to put in the TXT value. So we can go ahead and we can confirm that, and that adds in our TXT value. Then we will just go back to Business Settings, and we will attempt to verify the domain. And now that domain should be verified. So that's domain connecting. Okay, so for a pixel, what we need to do is we need to go to the pixel section, and we need to go to domain sources pixels to get to that section. So we're going to go and add a pixel here, and you can just call it whatever you want. In this case, we're not going to get confused later on. We're going to call it Urban Vibe Pixel, and then we can just click continue. And then what we're actually going to do on this section is we're just going to actually exit off this, because at this point what we can do is we can go over to Shopify. Now, under Shopify, they've got a very handy feature where you can go to apps. We can go to apps and channel settings. And what we can do is just go to Shopify App Store. Now, in the Shopify App Store, we're just going to search Facebook, and we're going to be able to find the main Facebook app used, which is Facebook and Instagram by Meta. We can then add that app to our store, and then we just need to click Add Sales Channel. Once this sales channel is added, we can just go to Start Setup. And for here, we just need to connect our account, So we will connect our Facebook account, we will click continue, and we can select our business assets. Now, we need to find our Facebook page. So here is our Facebook page, and we need to click connect. For enhancements, we can just do maximum enhancements, and we can go down and we can click save. And then we need to connect our pixel, which we've just made. And then we just need to agree to the terms and conditions. And it's very simple from there. We just need to submit that for a review. And that's actually the most part of our Facebook setup. There's just a few more things we need to do. What we need to do next is, if you don't have an ad account, we just need to go to create a new ad account under the ad account section. And we can simply call this Urban Vibe Ad Account. And we want to set the time zone to the same time zone as our store. So our store, for example, would be selling to Sweden. So we want to find Stockholm, and our currency is whatever we prefer to be billed in. So for us, it might be something like AED. Next, we will go to which account is this for, and we will create this ad account. And once we've created the ad account, we just want to add the permissions to ourselves. So we want to give ourselves full access to be able to control that ad account. And then what we want to do is go back to the pixel, and we want to connect that asset to our ad account. And now our ad account has access to that pixel. So you can see it here. Now, what we need to do actually for the pixel is we need to open this in Events Manager, because we actually need to set up web events for this pixel. And what we can do is we can actually go down here and we can click Continue Pixel Setup. We're going to go to Conversions API. We're going to set up with partner integration. We're going to click Shopify, and we're going to click I've completed the setup on Shopify. And then we're going to go to Next, and we're going to type in our domain to verify that connection. So we will go and get our domain, and that will be urbanvibe.co.uk. I'm going to go back to Events Manager, and we're going to click Send Traffic. Once we've gone through, and it should say that pixel is active. Now, what we can do here is we can click Finish, and that's that part set up. And in the final section, what we need to do is we need to go to Events Manager, and we will need to go over here to see the Manage Prioritized Events. Now, on our domain, what we'll need to do is we'll need to manage the events. We will need to go to Edit, and we'll need to actually add events here. So we need to add 4 events. Our main event, which is our highest priority, will be Pixel Urban Vibe. And our highest priority event will be Purchase. Same thing again, Pixel Urban Vibe. Our second highest priority event will be Initiate Checkout. And thirdly, we will have Add to Cart. And finally, we will have View Content. Once you've added these, check very carefully that this is set up correctly, that you have the right pixel selected for all events, and the events in this specific order. You can go ahead and you can click Apply. You can confirm those changes. And that's it. That's your Facebook structure completely set up, and you're ready to run your first advert. Okay, so welcome to the ads section, where we're going to be going over everything to do with Facebook ads. And today I'm going to show you how to create your first campaign, or generally a testing campaign. We've got our store here, so we've got our first product, which typically we find in our test sheets with all the information we need to launch. We're going to launch with the Forester thermal jacket. So first things we're going to do is we're going to open up Ads Manager. We're going to go to create our campaign. And under here, we're going to find the sales section. So we're going to go to sales, and then we're going to name our campaign. Now, the name of our campaign is really important, because this is going to really help us when we come back to actually managing the ad set itself. We're going to take the name of the product, which is the Forester thermal jacket, and we're just going to copy and paste that in there. Now, the next section, we're going to add in our break-even ROAS, which we can find in our test sheet, which you should have prior done. That's going to be 1.79. Our profit ROAS, which is our 20% profit ROAS, which is 2.78. And then our CPA, so our break-even CPA,
which is 44 euros. Okay. After that, we're just going to go through and continue. For our first ad set, we're going to go over this like we're selling to Germany, one of our biggest markets. So let's say we're selling to Germany, so we're going to go for no interest here for our first one. For our ad set interest, we always use 1 no interest, 2 niche, and 2 general. So we're going to start with no interest because it's the easiest when we come to duplicating, which you'll see in a minute. Okay, so for setup, we're going to go to website. For pixel, it should be purchases. Now, we haven't created the pixel on this particular setup, but you should make sure you have the correct pixel selected and then optimizing for purchases. Always optimize for purchases. And then daily budget, we're going to go for 2077. Now, if you're on a lower budget, you can always do 1077, or you can even go down to 577. It depends on your budget because we're going to be doing 5 of these ad sets. Okay, so for testing, we use 7-day click and 1-day view. And for scaling, we're going to use 1-day click and 1-day view. Okay, so let's say we're going to sell to Germany. So we add in our locations, Germany and Austria. And then obviously for interests, it's going to be no interest. And for genders, we're going to pick men because this is a male product. Going through, we just want to double check everything. We want websites, we want purchases, we want the correct budget, we want Germany and Austria, and we want to select the right gender and then no interest for this first particular one. We're not going to play with any of this. We're going to leave it on advantage placements. And also for scheduling the ads, we're not going to schedule the ads. If you're launching towards midnight, the particular local time, then you can go ahead and you can schedule it for the next day, because anytime after around 6 p.m, if it launches after 6 p.m, it might spend all your budget between 6 p.m. and midnight, and you really don't want that happening, especially if you're on a lower budget. So if it's before 6 p.m, make sure you're scheduling your ads. So the next section is the creative section. For the creative section, we're just going to come in and we're going to name the ad name Creative 1. And then we're going to select our Facebook page. You're going to create your ad creative. So the first thing we're going to do is just check this is all set up correctly. So we want manual upload, that's correct. Single image or video, that's correct. And multi-advertiser ads, that's okay to leave on there. We're going to add our image. I've already pre-uploaded these images. We're going to take that first image and we're going to go through. We're going to hit next, next, and we're going to allow the enhancements. So we're going to let Facebook do this optimization. Here, we're always okay with leaving it fully optimized. You want to tick and make sure it's fully optimized. They're going to do little tests for you, which are really going to help you out. For your ad copy, you can actually just go to dpool.com. And what you can do is you can do something like our bestseller is back in stock. Anything simple like that. We just want a nice little one-liner, something that catches the attention, something simple like that. So we would translate into German and we would just paste it back into the ad copy. Our bestseller is back in stock. For the headline and description, we're going to leave these blank. There's nothing too much to do there. And for the call to action, we're always going to use shop now. Now, one thing you can do is on the Facebook feeds, you can just go to edit, and you can also you can come here and you can put shop now and you can add a link. So you can put urban5.com and then /product. So you can put the link here, the link for your product. So we would just come down here and we would just click view. Obviously the Shopify is on preview mode, but we would copy that link and we would paste it into there. So that's something you can do on Facebook feed, because on Facebook feed, it's actually going to show, the link's going to work, whereas on Instagram, it's not going to. We typically do this for the Facebook feed only. For the website URL, you're going to add your product link again. Now your product link should look something like urban5.com/product. For triple L, if you're using triple L, you should be adding in your UTM into URL parameters. That's it. That's our first creative setup. Now, typically we will launch 3 creatives per product on a testing stage. If you're also wanting to do this, which I would highly recommend, you just want to go ahead and you want to duplicate this twice. And once this duplication is loaded up, you can just click on the first one and go call this creative 2. And you can delete that creative out. And then you can add in your next creative. And then we're just going to go through the same process again, make sure the enhancements are on. Check it's uploaded. Okay, great. And then we want to go back and do the same thing again for the last one, which is creative 3. And do the same thing again, make sure enhancements are on. Okay, so now all the creatives are uploaded, we can go and duplicate out this interest. So we're going to duplicate out the interest specifically 4 times. And what this is going to do is going to create 5 lots of the 3 creatives. And we're going to target different areas with these interests. So all you have to do is come in here. You can go down here and you can think of an interest. So we're going to think of 2 niche and 2 general. So general for this would be something like clothing. So we can do clothing, apparel, check the audience size. Yes, the audience size is good. So we can just copy this so we know which interest is performing. And then we come back down to interests and we think of another general one. So I'm going to go for something like Zalando, really big fashion brand. Check the audience size. Yep, that's good. And then we're going to come down again and we're going to go down to the interest section and we're going to think of 2 more niche ones. So for me, this is a jacket. So I'm going to go for jacket. It's a little bit more niche in the clothing section, but we're still going to have a good audience size. And then we want 1 more niche one. And for this, it's also a jacket, but it's also a coat. So we'll probably go for something like coat here. Okay, great. Okay, so that's our first testing campaign launched, and we're just going to publish that. So that completes our testing section. Okay, let's get into it. Scaling, which I'm sure everyone's waiting for. I'm sure a lot of you know that I'm quite well known for my scaling strategy. So let's go over it. Let's go over it in more detail. Now, some of you may have seen this strategy on Twitter. However, I'm going to go over it in more detail for you today. So campaign name, we went over this before. So we always want to make sure that we have the break-even ROAS, the profit ROAS, and the CPA. And this is so important when it comes to managing. Too many people make the mistake where they have the break-even ROAS and they're scaling down to the break-even ROAS. And that's a huge mistake because if you're scaling down to your break-even ROAS, any prior profit you've made, you're losing. So it's really important to have that profit ROAS. And it's going to become a lot more clearer in a minute. So tracking, we've tried a lot of tracking apps for intraday scaling. I really recommend Triplewell. You just need it. Running Facebook ads without a tracking app in 2022 or 2023 is going to be super difficult. So make sure you have a tracking app installed. If it's too above your budget, then look at alternatives. There is definitely cheaper options, but you need something that runs on a UTM parameter meter. Okay, so for testing, we've gone over this. We've gone over having 5 times 2077 ad sets. As I've spoke before, if you're on a smaller budget, 1077, 577, it's completely okay. It just means you're going to get the data a little bit slower. And that's okay. That's completely okay. For us, we want to get that data as fast as possible and scale as fast as possible. And the reason we do 0.77 is everyone else is targeting 5 times 20. So it tricks the algorithm of Facebook to thinking you're spending a little bit more than the competitor. Reviewing data, why do we use profit ROAS? So we've gone over this, but one important thing to notice is if we're using a 20% profit ROAS, it's extremely easy to work out 10 and 30 because if your break even's 1.5 and your profit's 2.5, for example, you're going to know that 2.0 is 10% and 3.0 is 30%. So it's really easy to be able to manage. Now, we're always aiming for 30% profit, but if you find yourself above that 20% with the correct upsells and the correct retargeting, you're gonna be around the 30% mark. So 20% is kind of what we aim for from a Facebook point of view, but from an overall, we're looking for 30%. And I'm gonna get into some live data to show you that we're really actually getting 30%, unlike a lot of other people pulling 5% margins on their dropshipping stores. Reviewing a CPA. Why don't we only use the break-even CPA? I mean, for us, our AOV is super high, right? We're relying on people buying multiple units. You might have an ad set, which is, for example, 12 ROAS, right? And you're going to go ahead and scale that. But maybe the break-even CPA is 35 euros. If you're scaling that and it's at 50 euros per purchase, then you're just wasting the profit from that higher ticket order. Whereas if you have the break-even ROAS there, as well as the CPA, then you're going to be able to see, okay, is the CPA, is the add to cart good for this product? Or did I just get that lucky 300, 400 euro sale? We've seen sales at even up to €1,000. So it's really important to have both of that information. So scaling part one. When it comes to managing ads, we always wait 24 hours from launching the campaign. After 24 hours, let's say we've launched our campaign at 5 times 2077, and there is one particular ad set doing well, there's 2 doing okay, and there's 2 just not performing. Now, obviously for the killing, we're going to go over this, but for scaling, we're going to take that top performing ad set and we're going to take it from 2077 to 50 or 100, depending on performance. Now, if you're on a lower budget, you can adjust that accordingly. But getting up to the 1,000 mark, you can be more aggressive. But once you pass the 1,000 mark, we're going to talk about that and being less aggressive. So doubling the budget is completely okay. And you're going to do that on the ad set level. You're never going to duplicate, you're always going to double. Managing data killing. So we would kill an ad set if the product doesn't have an add to cart by 50% of the break-even CPA. Now, what do I mean by that? If the break-even CPA is €40, for example, if it doesn't have an add to cart on the ad set by 20, we're going to turn that ad set off, okay? And that's for all creatives. That's a total spend of the ad set. If we're going to get to 100% of the break-even CPA, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off if it doesn't have a purchase. So €40, no purchase, we're going to turn it off. Now, the same goes for the ad sets, okay? So inside the ad sets, the actual ads themselves, what you're going to do is you're also going to watch for this data, because as you go on after around a week or even 3 or 4 days, depending on how fast you're scaling, you're also going to manage ads the same as you manage the ad sets. So inside your ad set, you've got 3 ads. What you're going to do is you're going to watch those ads themselves, and if the ads aren't performing to this level, then you're also going to kill those. So firstly, you're going to look at a macro level. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the ad set itself, and you're going to check for 50% of spend and 100% of spend for no add to cart, no purchase. And then as the spend goes on, you're also going to watch this on an ad level, okay? And that's your 3 little ads. Moving on to scaling part 2. So it's been 48 hours since running our product in this scenario. So after the 24 hours, we bumped it to 177 on our best performing ad set. Our 177 has been going really, really good. Okay. So we're going to carry on scaling this. After 48 hours, so we'd left it 24 hours to see if it's kind of held that initial scale. We would let the product run until around 9 a.m. local time that day, and then we would bump it again. Okay. So we would bump it again at around 9 a.m. local time. If the morning's been okay, if it's survived that morning, it's still doing well. And this is 48 hours later. We're going to bump it again. Part 3. It's 12 p.m. local time. So at 9 a.m. we bumped it. At 12 p.m. local time, what we've gone ahead and done, it's 3 hours after scaling. We're going to bump it again. Okay. So if it's performing well, we're going to bump it again. If it's not performing well, it's running a little bit slow and it's not just doing quite as well as it started, we're going to leave it to gather a little bit more data. So we're not going to edit that budget. And with this intraday scaling, it's really important to get a bit of an eye for it. If your CPA is massively increasing, you need to slow down on the scaling or even scale back, okay? So there's 3 things we can do. We can either increase the budget, we can leave the budget, or we can drop the budget back down to the original area it started that day. And it's really important to get an understanding for this in intraday scaling. And after time, you're going to get better and better at this. Okay, so in this case, if it goes really well, we'll bump it to 5077, we're doubling it again. If it's running slow, we'll just leave it. So, if it's sat around 20%, we'll leave it. If it's sat 30 or above, we'll scale it. And if it's just completely tarnished, it's gone back down to 10% or even lower, we're just going to drop it back down and we can possibly try again the next day, depending on the results of the next day. For kind of hyper scaling, which is what I call this. Now, you don't have to be as aggressive. I don't want this to scare you at all. You can very much just go along. Even if your budget's very low, you can go from 5 all the way up to 100, and that's really where your maximum is. Now, for us these days, our budget's much higher, and also it's not really going to spend this amount. However, there's a good chance it will spend 30 to 40% of it. So you have to be really careful when doing this. So the best scaling hours during the week, we only scale at 9 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. local time. After 6 p.m. on an evening during the week, we can scale as often as hourly, but through the day, it'll only be 9 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. During the weekend, we can scale hourly from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. There are real peak hours. Friday night and weekends are the best, and that's where you can really get through these budgets. We've even had budgets up to 50,000 a day on a single ad set, and they've actually come out only spending around 10 or 20, but that's typically what happens when you're doing this intraday scaling strategy. Follow this accordingly. Maybe your chart is from €5 to €100. Really take care of your budget and watch your cash flow, because this is a cash flow intensive area. And obviously make sure that you're going slow to begin with to warm up those processes. If you're doing this with a brand new processor, you're going to completely blow that up. So make sure that you have everything else in place. It's not just about the ad side. The operations are going to be much more important, especially scaling this aggressively. So on these higher scalings, if you have passed €1,000 ad budget for the day, you need to drop it back down to 1,000 at midnight. So anything past 1,000, drop it back down to 1,000 at midnight. If it's past 177, so if it's past €100, we drop it back down to €100. So keep that in mind. Now, another strategy you can do is drop it back down to where you started at that day. If you're on a lower budget, just drop it back down to where you started at that day, wherever you started scaling, and then repeat that process for the following days. Yeah, this strategy is really not for beginners. You've got to be very careful with it. And how you can kind of adapt this strategy for beginners would be going through and starting at €5 and going up to €100. But please, if you're a beginner, don't follow these super high budgets. It's really going to mess up everything to do with your business. So follow it accordingly and very carefully. Okay, so let's just show you some live data to really show you what's going on. So this was a day where we're going to do a typical refresh. This was a day where we hyperscaled. Now, we don't usually scale this hard in stores. We usually stick at around 30,000 a day per store to avoid processing issues. Now, this store actually got deactivated by Shopify, which is a reason why you shouldn't scale this hard. But you can see here, we spent €20,000 that day and we brought in 62,000 with Facebook. So this is the possibilities of these methods. It's really, I want to show you the possibilities of this space and what you can actually do, because this is just one store for us. And backing it up with the margins, as I said that day, we're going to hit this a refresh, show you this is some live data. But you can see here on this day, this was actually September of this year, the 18th of September, we did 71,000 in sales and 23,000 in net profit. So that's 23,000 net profit in a single day. And you may be thinking, that's just one day. And we can go back here and we can pick the prior day. And you can see 46,000 in sales and 18,000 profit. Luke, that's just one day again. Okay, so let's show you the week. You can see this kind of scaling line in which we follow. So you can see, 10,000 a day all the way up to 70,000 a day. So in 1 week, 76,000 net profit. And this is just one store. So I don't recommend scaling to this level. Just keep it around 30,000 a day at a maximum on a store. If your budget is much lower and you're just trying to get that extra 5,000-10,000 a month profit coming in, now obviously you're going to be scaling to 1,000 a day, and that's still really good results. There's no need to go that high. Follow your budgets accordingly. Make sure all your processes are in place and scale safely.
In this video, I just wanted to discuss Day One themselves, our fulfillment partner, and why it's so detrimental to your business that you get a good supplier. I want to go over all the benefits with using Day One. So first of all, Day One, they offer super reduced shipping times. It's usually between 8 to 12 days, whereas if you're to use AliExpress's shipping lines, it's going to take between 3 to 4 weeks. If you have delays with shipping items, so if it takes 4 weeks to send to the customer, they're obviously going to dispute the transaction. They're going to write negative comments on your Facebook page, your website, and just in general, it's going to have a negative impact on your business. So it's important to have affordable and also very fast shipping lines. Day One offer price is much lower than AliExpress, which means you can keep the price in your store the exact same and make a much higher profit margin. Once you are onboarded, you get a dedicated team that works entirely on your store. They care more about your business than other suppliers would, and will let you know if something is out of stock. They would advise not to sell a certain product based on previous clients selling it and it being an issue. And finally, they send out the tracking numbers to the customer so that you don't have to. As you start to scale, they can offer credit lines. You can purchase cheap and super high quality branded packaging so that when your customer receives the item, they don't see the standard Chinese packaging with Chinese writing on it and get disappointed by that. They'd see your branded packaging, and in turn it would make the product feel much higher quality. They don't have a minimum order quantity, unlike most suppliers. And one of the most important parts is the quality control. They can provide you an exceptional service when it comes to quality checks. So they'll send you videos, photos, measurements, everything that you need in order to run your business, they can provide. You get to check the product images, see if it matches the ones on your store, and if you like it, you can also create exact size charts. So we've been using Day One for around 2 years now. Before then, we were testing out many suppliers, try and find the best ones, and these definitely came out on top. You can click on the link in the Facebook group. There's going to be a form in there for you to fill out, and then we can send that to Henry, the owner of Day One, and he can get you set up with your own dedicated supply chain team. You can also check out their website, dayoneFulfillment.com, and everything that I've mentioned will also be on here. You can watch the nice little videos of getting to meet the team, their previous clients and how many orders they've processed, the many different services that they offer, such as white labeling, private labeling, branded packaging, everything that I've mentioned. There's an About Us section which shows you they've been in business for more than 7 years, and anything else that you wanted to check out yourselves before using the service. So please do click on the Facebook link if you're interested in using the supplier, or reach out to any one of us and we can help you get started. Thank you for listening. Okay, in this video we want to discuss the customer service department. Super important to know exactly what to do and how to set it up. Essentially from the start, if you're a beginner, you want to do customer service yourself, but if you start to grow, or if you're an expert, you definitely want to outsource customer service first. So there's multiple different customer service platforms you can be using. The ones we've used in the past are Zendesk, Help Scout and Gorgas. Zendesk is shown here. This is the layout. You've got your views on your left hand side. I'm going to explain what these are, along with any customers that email our customer service email, your Gmail or GoDaddy. You can see when the email comes in and when it's last updated. On Help Scout, it's very similar to Zendesk. Gorgas, however, it's more of an expensive platform. However, it does include social media platforms as well in there. So this is more for brands. However, if you're starting out dropshipping, Zendesk or Help Scout should be the ones that you choose. So we're going to go over how to set up a Zendesk account, connecting the email to Zendesk, how to create a view, and also how to create a macro. You just want to head over to zendesk.com and click here, free trial. So I believe you get 14 days free. You want to enter your customer service email. So usually that's team at whatever your store is called, teststore.com. You just want to enter your name in here and also your phone number, company name. So to be honest, for this you can put your store name, number of employees. You just want to start off with 1 to 9. English, create a password, and then complete your free trial. So you just want to select Gmail and verify your email before we can continue. With this section, we can just skip that. So once you have logged in, you can go to the admin center and you can fill out all your account details, invite any people that you want to. However, the 2 things that we need to do are set up our macros and also our views. First of all, click Workspace and then go to Macros. As you can see, there's 39 macros already active on this account. And we're just going to go ahead and create our first macro together. So essentially, this is all going to be blank, and what we want to do is just add a macro in here. The macro name can be number 1. How can I help? This is just a standard macro. And you don't need to include a description, just leave that. All agents. However, if you want to assign it just to you and none of your staff, you can just click me only and add the action. So the action is going to be comment/description. And in here, we're just going to go ahead and copy this. So it's a bit of code. It says, hey, and it's going to tag their first name. Thanks for reaching out. How can I help you? Kind regards, our name. So it's going to be whatever our store is called, or you can just get rid of this and just put test store support. Once you've done that, you can add another action So for this one, you could assign a tag if you'd like to. I don't usually do this, but I know some people do. Assign a tag of OS, which means order status, so that you know what you've been discussing with this customer. We're going to go ahead and click create, and it's going to show up here. Okay, so the next one we want to add in here is the second macro, order status not found. Instead of just simply creating a new macro, we can clone this and we can just replace the macro name with order status not found. So customers reach out to us, they've asked, where is my order, with a different email they've used to purchase. So we can't find out which order it is exactly. We're just going to say, hi, customer first name. We can't seem to find any orders that correspond to this email address. Would you mind sending us your order number as well as the date of order? That way we can track it. Kind regards. And this again would be an order status. However, if it was something like refund, we can put refund in there. If it's something like out of stock, we can put that in there. However, if you just want to leave that blank, that's also fine. Create. So that's how you create the two macros, as I've used for examples there. I've got a list of more macros as you can see on the screen. If you want any help with creating any macros, please do reach out to me and I can help you with those. You could essentially just write a response for all of these areas, so you have something in place when a customer does ask about where their order is, your order's in transit, if they want to cancel, if they want to change their address. We've got all these macros, and that's what essentially a macro is. It's a canned response to a customer so that we have something there ready for when they email. So the next thing we want to add are views. This is just how you stay organized within Zendesk. This is the list of all the views that you probably want to add. So order status, refund, return, cancellation, resend, dispute, out of stock, or high risk order. So you want to again go back to workspaces and click on views. It's going to show you a lot of examples. You want to remove all of them except all unresolved tickets and recently solved tickets. So any email that comes in is going to go to your all unresolved tickets, as shown here, all unresolved tickets. And when you've solved them, it's just going to go to your recently solved tickets. Anything else you can just remove, and then we want to add our own in. So let's go ahead and add the first view. Add view, order status. Tickets must meet all of these conditions to appear in this value. Tags contains at least one of the following. OS, which means order status, or you can type order status also. And we want to assign the current user. Everything else can just be kept the same. We're going to go ahead and save. So basically what we've done now is created an order status view, and we can go ahead and create one for every single view listed here. Refund can just be refund, cancellation can just be cancel. You can shorten these. OOS stands for out of stock, high risk order, HRO, that's completely fine. What this means now is we have our macros set up, our views set up. We can go to agent workspace, which is the support, and select views on the left hand side. And when emails come in, they're going to go to our all unresolved tickets. To respond to an email, you can apply a macro in the bottom left hand corner. You can add a tag, such as this order needs to be refunded. So we're just going to put refund in here. And then we're going to go down here and submit as solved if a customer has been refunded. Once we click solve, it's going to fall under the refund view. And that's basically everything when it comes to Zendesk. You originally connect your Gmail account to the Zendesk itself, create all the macros that you need to respond to customers, create the views so you can stay organized, and as soon as a customer emails, you know exactly what to do. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the store policies. So the four main ones are shipping, refund, privacy and terms and conditions. I've listed a few things for each policy that I like to include. So for shipping, we've got a 24-hour cancellation policy. You can make this shorter if you like. It can even be 12 hours. However, you do probably want to include a cancellation policy, as customers want to cancel if there's any delays in shipping out their item. So having a 24-hour cancellation policy due to their order already getting processed and shortly shipped out covers your back and allows you to include that when you're responding to the customer. So in the macro, we're probably going to say something along the lines of, hey, customer first name, unfortunately your order has already been shipped or processed, so I'm unable to make any changes at this time. If they would like to resend the order back to us as soon as it's been delivered, they can do for a full refund. However, most of the time customers are not going to do that. We've got our standard shipping times, put a reasonable time frame in there, 7 to 21 days I like to include. Tracking numbers, they'll receive those within 5 days. With our fulfillment partner, they send these out automatically, and orders being processed within 5 days. Orders being processed just means it's going to get fulfilled on Shopify. This was discussed in the supply chain video. Refund policy, we've got a 14-day refund policy. So as soon as they've received the item, they have 14 days to request a refund. If it's outside of that, then we do not cater a refund. It tends to take 3 to 5 days to process refunds due to delays in the banking partners and any damaged items. So if they have a damaged item, we need proof from them. We want them to send us images or videos showing that it's damaged. Some customers do like to claim that an item is damaged even if it's not, or it's the wrong size even if it's not, so please do get proof there. Privacy policy and terms and conditions, you can read these yourself. They're just very generic, privacy policy, terms and conditions. You can include some discrepancies, changes to colour, i.e. if a customer receives an item that's not too similar as what's shown on the store. We do want to keep it very similar. However, if there's a slight colour change, we can say that this is down to professional photos being taken for the website, and when it arrives, it's not identical, it's a little bit faded. Obviously, the images that we display on our website are going to be the highest quality. You can also add other policies, such as a billing policy, which is needed for Google Ads, an about us page, so a little description as to who you are, who the brand is, that kind of thing, and an FAQ page. Finally, let's move on to the problem sheet and disputes. So here I've created a problem sheet. If you'd like a copy of this, please do message me. We've got tabs along the bottom, so we've got refund, resend, cancellations, high risk, disputes, and so on. So I'm going to go into each one and explain what it is and how you can fill it out. So this one's for refunds. If a customer emails us and asks for a refund, we just want to put their order number in there, their name, email. If it's a supplier error, so have they received an item that's a fault with the supplier? Because if it's a fault with the supplier, i.e. they've sent out the wrong product, they should be covering the cost of that, or they've sent out the wrong size, they should be covering the cost of that. When the customer ordered and when they send the email to ask for a refund, a supplier refund date, did we receive the refund from the supplier? If yes, then put the date in here. The quantity of items they ordered and they want a refund for, so just put 1. The payment method they processed the payment with, Klarna, PayPal, or by credit card or debit card. Just put that in there. It's important to note because if someone's requesting a refund and we haven't given it to them, they're likely to create a dispute on the payment processor. The product name, so just put the product name in there. Full refund or partial refund. Are we getting a full refund from the supplier, or are we getting a % back from the supplier? If a jacket has been shipped and there's a fault with the zip, the supplier's not necessarily going to give us a full refund for that. They're probably just going to give us a partial. Or if there's some stitching that's missing or thread hanging out, they're probably just going to give us a partial refund. So we want to put the product cost in here, the % amount, and that's just going to calculate how much we should get back from our supplier. So let's say this is only 50%, we're going to get $5.25 back from our supplier. However, in this case, they've got the wrong size and the supplier should give us the full refund for that. To the customer, we're just going to say, we can offer you a 20%, or can you send it back to our warehouse and we'll give you a full refund. And because we want to keep refunds as low as possible, after offering 20%, the customer has refused. We offer 30%, we offered 40%, and finally they accepted. So we're giving 40% back to the customer and we're getting 100% back from our supplier, because obviously we've paid for advertisements for this product and we don't want to lose too much money. So the customer has placed an order for £55. who said that they're getting 40% back of that, so that's £22 we need to refund to the customer. When we've refunded it, what the reason is for, so it's a sizing issue, they received the wrong size, and are they returning it? So if they return it to our warehouse, we usually give them a 100% refund. If they don't want to return it, then usually we just keep it to 20%. If a customer dislikes the item, they can ship it back to our warehouse for a 100% refund, or we can offer them a very small percent and they keep the product, such as 5%, 10%, 15%. That being said, in your refund policy, you should also state the customer has to pay for the return shipping. So moving on, we've got resends. So if a customer wants to resend an item, we need to inform our supplier and they need to do that. We can fill it out on this sheet with a new tracking number. Cancellation, so if anyone's cancelled, remember it's got to be within 24 hours or the time frame that you set. If it's a high risk order, we basically want to just email them first and make sure that they've purchased before we send it out. Shopify can usually detect if it's a fraudulent customer. However, do just email them first before you ship out the product. If they confirm and say, yes, I ordered the item, then go ahead and continue with the normal process. So I'm going to come back to disputes. At the post office, our supplier is going to let us know if an item's gone to the post office. We've got 2 weeks to resend the item to the customer, or they can collect it. Otherwise, the item's going to get destroyed. So the item will end up at the post office if a customer is not in, or they refuse to receive it due to it taking so long. Maybe it has Chinese writing on. We just want to send them an email out saying their order's at the local post office. So after you've received this information from the supplier, send them an email and then send it again 7 days later. Customer response required. So this is if you're waiting on the customer to respond before you can process the order. For this customer, we need more information about their address, which street it's on, what house number, that kind of thing. If they've missed information when they've paid for an order, we just want to email them and ask for some more information and anything that's getting returned. You also want to ask the customer to send the item back with the return shipping tracking number. If they don't do this and the item gets lost, that's on them. It's highly recommended that they ship it with tracking. It's usually a little bit more expensive, so customers don't like to do that. And you can just write a comment in here. We offered up to 40% for a refund, however they declined. So they've now processed a return and they're going to get a 100% refund as soon as we've received the item back to our warehouse. We just want to end this video on disputes, so you can log into your payment processor, whether that's Klarna or PayPal or any other payment processor that you use. And the way we like to keep on top of disputes is to email a customer before it appears in our response section. So if we can see a dispute, so we have all of our disputes and we have the disputes that we need to respond to, export all of the disputes and email all the customers individually. So we can put the merchant reference in there, the order number, the customer name, and email. When did they order? How much are they charging back? So this person is charged back £55. What's the problem? They haven't received their item yet. So you want to check the tracking link. A very good website I like to use is parcelapps.com. You can see the tracking number for the shipment from China to their country and also the local courier. So the shipment from the depot to their house. Usually it's shipped from China to the country with Yon Express and then a local courier such as DHL. What does the tracking say? Does it say delivered? If it says yes, then we need them to contact the local courier itself, find out exactly where their item has gone. Do be careful though, because some customers like to claim that they haven't received their item and they have. Any comments you want to make? So this was a high risk order on Shopify. Have we emailed the customer? So we want to email the customer as soon as they've created a dispute saying, please cancel your dispute and let us handle it. You're going to get a much quicker response because the customer and ourselves have to go back and forth with Klarna and it usually takes a lot longer. We're offering them a much quicker response and a solution if they just cancel the dispute and let us handle it. Whether we need to refund them, it's always better to get them to cancel the dispute so that you can stay active on your payment processor. Email them again if they haven't responded 5 days later. You can contact them on WhatsApp as well. So purchase a business phone number and download business WhatsApp. You can purchase a number from Push, it's a mobile app, and receive a code to WhatsApp, making sure that you've got the same country code as the country that you're selling to. Have you texted them? Yes. You can also create an Instagram account for your store in which you can try and contact the customer from based off their information on Shopify. And when did they complain? You got the tracking link, the shipping link. You can see all this information on Parcel Apps. So we've emailed the customer, we've texted them, we've tried to contact them and get them to cancel. If they refuse to cancel the dispute, then we just need to respond to the dispute as soon as it appears in response. Submit all the documents that you have, submit a screenshot of the parcel tracking, proof that they've signed the delivery, the shipping label, which you can get from your supplier. Our supplier Day One are very good with handling disputes and they can help us out massively with sending the shipping label and also proof of delivery. So usually that's everything that the payment processor wants to see, and that concludes the problem sheet and any disputes that appear on your payment processor. The customer service department is not the most exciting job in the world. However, as soon as you start to scale, you definitely want to start outsourcing this, as your email inbox will start to build up very quickly. Thank you for listening. In this video, I wanted to discuss all the elements that include the supply chain role and also anything that the internal accountant would have to do on a daily basis. That includes fulfillment audits, invoice checks, quality checks, just double checking that everything the supplier gives us is correct and we're not overpaying invoices and we're not sending out super poor quality items that can lead to a mass amount of disputes. So first of all, we're going to start on invoice checks. We want to make sure that the amount that the supplier is giving us on a daily basis, or if you have a credit line with your supplier, we still want to make sure that the invoices are correct so that we're not overpaying the invoices. Let's start off by exporting all of your orders within the select range. So I'm just going to export the orders from the 26th of September to the 2nd of October, which is a week period. That being said, we would pay the supplier on the Monday for the entire week. On the 3rd of October, we have to pay the supplier the amount that we're going to export. Let's export all of these orders. It's going to send it to your email. You can upload it to a drive. So I've just dragged the CSV file into the drive. We need this data in order to double check the pricing for all the products. All your data is going to appear like this. You're going to have the order number, you're going to have the email, you're going to have the line item quantity and also the line item name. Now I've removed every other column because it's not relevant to keep the other columns. On another sheet you should have the quotes for all of your products, so I'm just going to create an example here. So this is how I like to fill out my quotation sheet. Obviously we've got the line item name, we've got the comment, so any comments that you want to ask the supplier, can you supply all the colours and all the sizes of the AliExpress link? If the supplier can respond to that, that would be great in this column. We've got the Ali cost. We want to compare the Ali cost to the supplier's cost and also try and keep the supplier's cost much lower than the AliExpress one. Obviously the link, but I haven't included the links for these products as they're just test products, and some quotations here. This is going to be our quotation sheet, however we do need a price database sheet. Price database is basically where we keep the prices of all our products. We want to either import range if it's from a completely different sheet, or in this case we can just say that it's this column and drag it down just like so. And you also want to bring forward the cost. So again, we're just going to bring through the total cost, which might be calculated on a break-even ROAS sheet. However, if you want to, you can just add a column in here. Let me just remove that a second. So this column is the total cost, in which we would add the product cost and the shipping cost. We can just go back to the price database now and either import the range, or we can just transfer the data from this tab to the other tab. So we've got a price database and we have a quotation sheet. Perfect. Again, the supplier can fill out these, the picture link of the product, available colors, sizes, material. Material is super important. We don't want to claim something as the wrong material on Shopify. Size charts, I'll come to size charts later. Please make sure that the product name is exactly the same as it is on Shopify. So if you're using a non-English speaking store, translate it and make sure that it's the translated name on this sheet. When you do an order export from Shopify, that's the name that is going to appear here in this column. So we just want to add a column to the right. In this column, it's going to be the amount that we have to pay the supplier for each individual item. We want to VLOOKUP this item name. What sometimes happens is you have product X and then its variant, and it'll be the same all the way down. What you can do is go to data and split to text, and then just put the dash in there and it's going to split it. And you can remove the variant just like that, or you can manually go and do it, and you can go back in here, delete it for one of them, and simply just drag it down for the rest. Just go careful if you're doing it manually though. You can also use Command F on Mac and search F. Again, just scroll it down for all the products named X. Back to the formula, we want to use V lookup, and it wants to be line item name X within the range. So it's going to be within this range, and we want to pull through the cost of the product. So it wants to be in column B, so B is represented by 2, and we want to finalize the formula with a 0 there. So what this is going to do is it's going to check the line item name being X and pull through the correct amount from your price database. And we can just simply drag this formula all the way down, making sure that we have $signs before both numbers. That way the range is not going to change. Now we've pulled through the product cost for all of these orders, and we want to do a sum. So we can see that's the weekly expense for cost of goods. What we then want to do, just to finalize this off, is create another column. To the right, we want to do the product cost multiplied by the line item quantity, and just scroll that all the way down, because sometimes customers might order 2 of exactly the same item, and this wants to be, again, the same formula there. The final thing that you need to do before you finalize the invoice check is add any discounts for multi-orders. You want to speak to your supplier. If a customer has ordered 2 items, you're going to want to receive a discount for that, because essentially they just have to ship it one time, so it's going to completely remove the second shipping cost. You might have to pay a little bit of shipping, but usually suppliers can offer between $1 to $3. So let's say we have 3 orders for this one item. We can go through and manually just check all of these. If we kept the paid at column, we're going to see a lot of dates and times, and for the multi-orders, it's just going to be completely blank. So we can just add up the total amount of blanks or multi-orders, being this one here, and we just want to add in discounts here. So discounts is just going to be $3, subtract that from our total cost. So this is going to be the complete invoice for the week's amount of cost of goods. The supplier is essentially going to send you an invoice, and this is just double checking that your invoice matches theirs and you are both on the same wavelength. Something I'd like to throw in here and mention for the supply chain is that we follow an SLA. So this is a contract that's signed with a supplier. It's important to have, because I know a lot of cases in which the supplier is maybe not shipping out orders in time. It keeps them accountable, it keeps you accountable. It makes sure that all orders are getting fulfilled in a timely manner. If you have any issues with the customer itself, the supplier usually helps you in order to resend an item or receive it for a refund. Make sure that you set out a clear contract as to how you want to run your business, how you want the supplier to run your business and fulfill the orders. There's a lot of contracts and templates of SLAs online. You can definitely find one from there, or you can create it yourself. Things I like to include in there is payment terms, when the supplier caters the cost of the product, i.e. if they're taking too long, the amount of time that we allow for orders to be processed, so usually that's between 3 to 5 days, how long it should take for orders to be shipped out, discrepancies, and if the supplier is to send out a faulty product, then they should be the ones to cover that. If they send out the wrong sizing for clothing items, they should be the ones to cover that. Because at the end of the day, if a customer is complaining that they've received a faulty item, it's unlikely that they're going to accept a resend, so it usually results in a refund, which in turn is going to have a negative impact on your business. So set an SLA out with clear guidelines on how you want your supplier to run your business and fulfill the orders from the start. That's pretty much everything. I don't want to go into too much detail with SLAs. You can create one yourself, but just make sure you have something there We don't want a scenario where you've paid for a load of items and they just simply haven't been shipped out to the customer because the supplier hasn't communicated that well enough to yourself. So next I wanted to move on to quality checks. Quality checks are something that we get our supplier to do. So they're going to order your winning products into their factory in order to then further ship them out. But when they receive the items, we like to get them to send us videos and photos of the images so that we can manually check them ourselves. So we just like to double check that the quality matches and the images also match the ones on our store. There's not too much of a discrepancy there with the colours and the actual look of the product itself. We like to get them to send us a video so we can see the inside as well of, if it's clothing items or if it's an electronical item, we need them to plug it in and make sure that it actually works. But essentially this is also done to make sure that we have size charts in place. So we like to make sure that we actually receive the measurements of the products in order to create a size chart. At the start, we're going to launch a product, we're going to test it, and either use an AliExpress size chart or just not include one at all. To be honest, it's very hard to make up one if you don't have measurements, but as we get lots of orders in, if it's a winning product, we can usually create a size chart pretty quickly. And we create the size chart with the exact measurements from our supplier. That way there's never any errors when it comes to our customers. If they've checked on our store and they've checked our size chart, it's going to match what they receive. In our policies as well, usually in the terms of service, we include a 3 centimeter discrepancy. So if something is 3 centimeters or more in length, so the length of the bra in this case, if it's 3 centimeters more or 3 centimeters less, then we just explain that that can happen due to factories manufacturing lots of items at once, or you can make up an excuse there to cover your back. If you don't want to include 3 centimeters, you can include a little less, but you probably want to include that you have a discrepancy. So that's everything when it comes to quality checks and size charts. We also like to make sure that second checks are done. Multiple people go in there and check the item itself. It's not always down to just one person. Something that links very closely to this is when you're making edits on Shopify itself. You want the supply chain role really to analyze all of the products. If there's an error with the sizing from the customers, we can see a trend from the customer service team. They pass that on to the supply chain team and we can adjust the size charts. Or, if something is claimed to be one material and it's completely not that material. This should never really happen if you're using a quotation sheet and you're checking the material before you launch it, making sure that there's no words in there that claims the item is something it isn't. But a lot of the time people like to copy product descriptions, so they might not always check. So the supply chain team, this is where they would come in. They go into the Shopify. If they see trends of errors from the percent error, they will change it on Shopify, making sure that they get approval before they make edits on Shopify is super important, because we don't want them to go in to the Shopify and make edits that's going to harm conversion. So it's just little tweaks in there that's going to just cover your back. If you're having issues with that product, it's a winner, you still want to continue selling it. Maybe you do need to find another manufacturer. Maybe it's an issue with the quality itself. You can pay a little bit more with the supplier, usually, to get a better quality. And you can use that one instead, making sure, again, you re-get the quality checks. If the supplier does change any manufacturers at any point, they will inform you and make sure that they do inform you, because if they move from one manufacturer to another, it's not always the case that they are the same. In fact, it's very unlikely that they will be. So yeah, just make sure the supply chain role is doing the invoice checks, quality checks, creating size charts if needed. They want to make edits on Shopify when necessary. And finally, they want to do a fulfillment audit. So we want to make sure that all items are getting fulfilled. Suppliers should never fulfill an order unless it's being shipped. That's how I like to manage the orders on my store. Some people just like to get the supplier to fulfill orders automatically. In my case, it's best to leave the orders on there and fulfill them when shipped. So again, I'm just going to export orders between a date range. I've just gone for the past 4 days, as I know that they're all going to be unfulfilled, and I'll be able to show you a lot of data. So we have an invoice check here. We're just going to upload now the order export of the unfulfilled orders for the past 4 days. You want to do this maybe once a week. We want to make sure that we have the line item name, line item quantity, the fulfillment status, super important as we're checking to see if it's been fulfilled or not. The paid app column, we just want to add 2 to the right. And split columns to check. That way we can remove these 2 and we have just the date there. And then we want to create a filter. So go data, create a filter, and make sure that the fulfillment status is not fulfilled. So we only have blanks and unfulfilled orders. These 2 we can remove, however this one we cannot, as it's probably the same item. You're going to know if it's the same order. I've probably just, dragged this down, it's incorrect. But let's just say that's 24 as well, and we'll go down from there. Yeah, so this is the same order, so we can just copy that into there, and that's also unfulfilled. So what you want to do next is just copy the data, and we want to paste it on here. That way we've got all the values. It's important to do this because otherwise it's going to take the range from all of the data you have. We're going to go and add a pivot table in now. So insert to this date range. The first thing we want to add into rows is paid app. Let's add that in there. We want to add the name. We want to add the line item name. We can get rid of the line item name total. And also we want to have the line item quantity in the values. So you can see there's a total amount of 39 unfulfilled orders. And then just going to copy this across to a new sheet. Just so I can show the data to the supplier much more easily. Here we go. I'm then just going to play about the data just a little bit. If you want to add a comment here as well, sometimes we might be waiting on customer, so we can add that comment in there. Waiting on customer. It's not the supplier's fault. It's simply we need more information from them, whether that's the address or a change to the variant. If it's more than 5 days, I like to highlight it red, just to indicate to the supplier that these orders need fulfilling. So if this was on the 7th, let's say, I'm going to highlight this column red because there's 13 unfulfilled orders from Monday and they need shipping out. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of customer issues. So the reason why we do this is so that orders are not missed, because we can't always rely on the supplier to fulfill every single item. We're chasing them, but what we can then do is just download a copy of this and send it to the supplier. Basically, you just want to explain something like this. Please see the fulfillment report for whichever date it is, the total of however many items you have unfulfilled, 5, I'm going to change this, sorry, should say 12 unfulfilled items after 5 days, which is a supplier issue, and then there's 1 there which is not a supplier issue, which is a customer issue, because we're waiting for them to respond. So that's how we like to keep on top of orders. We've mentioned invoice checks, going over an SLA, quality checks, creating size charts, updating Shopify, and also fulfillment reports. What you can do is you can pass on information to an internal accountant, or you can have someone do this role as well. But to calculate daily P&Ls, all you would need is the invoice check to be done daily. So you have the total amount of COGS for that 1 day. Use that, use advertisement spend, and use revenue. Don't forget to include the fees as well for payment processors. And that way you can calculate the total amount of profit each day. It's good to know. I guess it's a bit of motivation if you have a really good day of profit. It's not always perfect according to external apps such as Triple Whale. It's always best to calculate this manually and use Triple Whale more for managing the advertisements itself rather than calculating daily profit and loss. Okay, so that's everything for supply chain. We've covered a lot of the internal accountant kind of role there as well. You know, if you've got an accounting team yourself or your company does, you can send all this data to them, including all the invoices for payments as well. Keeps everything nice and organized. Me personally, I hire someone internally and use Zero Accounting. These ideally should be split into 2 roles, but you could essentially have one person do both roles. Thank you very much. Let's discuss outsourcing. There's not too much we need to talk about when it comes to outsourcing, but it's definitely something that should be mentioned. The platforms that you can use to outsource your work to are Upwork and Online Jobs PH. Online Jobs PH usually tends to be for people in the Philippines. You can offer them cheaper prices, where Upwork is more specialist roles. You can speak to people within your network, see if they have any existing staff that they want to let go of or have previously worked with in the past. And you can also check on LinkedIn. When you put job posts up on Upwork and Online Jobs PH, put a very detailed description of all the qualities that you want your applicants to have. At the very bottom, you can put something like, reply to this email with thank you 123 before you submit any documents for your CV to show that they've read your application in full. At the bottom here, I've just included a few things that I like to mention when I'm doing my interviews before I hire. Just questions about their previous work, so their experience. Any current part-time jobs they have on at the moment. Ideally, we don't want them to have any, so they are fully focused on our business. Their hobbies, just to get to know them more on a personal level as well there. And the hourly rate that they maybe got employed by in the past, so how much they got paid per hour for their previous job. So then you can offer them something that's fair and also cost effective for you. The hours that they can work for your business. And also it's good to know why they left their last job or why they were let go of. So the jobs to outsource, the very first thing that you want to outsource is customer service. So at the beginning you want to do it yourself so that you fully understand the role and you can outsource it. But as soon as you're profitable, I'd definitely outsource customer service. You can usually find someone on online jobs for between $3 to $5 per hour. And you have to understand that your time is far more valuable than spending an hour doing customer service for $3. So essentially, you don't want to outsource too soon so that you're unprofitable and you're having to pay someone on top of that. You want to become profitable first and then outsource as soon as you are. Other roles that I want to mention, these aren't in a particular order, but we can start from the top, going down to media buyer, someone to launch your ads itself. Product pages, so someone to copy your product pages from another store or to create them themselves. Someone to make the creatives for your advertisements. Supply chain, that's what I mentioned in one of my videos, to check the invoices, to check the quality of the products and fulfill all the orders. You can hire someone to do that. An internal accountant, so this is someone that would calculate daily profits, reconcile all your transactions, collect all your invoices for your business, etc. And finally, someone to manage and scale your ads. I wanted to include this section as it's super important to outsource. However, you don't want to do it too quickly. You want to become an expert in all these departments so that when you outsource, you know exactly what you're training your staff to do. There's no point building out a team too quickly, as it's just added expenses. You want this to be a slow process where you hire your customer service, and then when you're profitable and you physically can't do any more work yourself, you will know when the time is right to then hire someone to launch your ads, product pages, creatives. I'd say weigh on your supply chain and internal accountant and media buyer for later down the line, as you can be managing your ads yourself, scaling, as that's super important. Supply chain, this is more of an expert role. You can be checking your product quality and doing the invoices yourself. Internal accountant, again, keep it in-house until you find someone that's right for that role. But yeah, the most important thing that I'd like to stress is don't outsource too quickly. Do it when the time is right and you are running very profitable. Lastly, you've probably noticed that product research isn't on there. I would advise not outsourcing product research. I do know a lot of people that do outsource it. However, for us internally, it's super important that we do our product research ourselves and hand these products to our staff, as it's definitely the most important part about our business. So if you have any difficulty with outsourcing, do feel free to reach out to me. I can help you with making job posts on Upwork or Online Jobs PH, or how to organise your interview, and also to be able to prioritise which staff need hiring where. You'll be able to notice when you need someone to fill in a certain role, you know, there's a gap missing in your business and you just can't seem to do it yourself, or you don't have time to do it yourself. That's when you should be hiring. I just wanted to keep this video super short. That's everything when it comes to outsourcing. Thank you.